B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, shiur Torah. Very good to be here, Baruch Hashem. We are live already. And Baruch Hashem, series continues. We're actually at amazing questions about God from Hollywood, number 14, Baruch Hashem. The series continues, a lot of interesting things, some good questions. One question you just asked about squeezing a lemon versus squeezing anything else is also very good to know. It's alachot Shabbat. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys are going to have many, many other questions, but just a simple question to start with. Always know that just because you can do one thing doesn't mean you can do another. So, for example, to squeeze on Shabbat is not allowed if it's an orange, or if it's a, let's say, some other fruit. You're not allowed to squeeze an orange. You're not allowed to make yourself orange juice, because that's not the way of eating an orange. That's not the traditional way of eating an orange. But to squeeze a lemon, you are allowed to do, because that is the way to eat a lemon. So you are allowed, lechatchila, to squeeze a lemon. Some are, exactly like you said, are a little bit more stringent about it, where they put it from kli rishon to kli sheni, but it's not necessarily the halacha is that you're allowed to do it lechatchila, normally as you would any other time, as far as squeezing a lemon, because that's the way you eat it. That's the way you eat a lemon. You eat the lemon juice. People usually don't eat lemon by themselves unless they're a little strange. I actually know that some people like to torture their kids, and they like to give little babies lemon, because the babies make very funny faces when they eat lemon. Baruch Hashem, we're not sadistic, so we never did that in our house, but I know other people like to do it because it's kind of funny to see, the kid do it, make the faces. But with all joking aside, you are allowed to squeeze a lemon on Shabbat, lechatchila, meaning initially without any hesitations. Okay, so let's, Baruch Hashem, the Torah is endless. Let's ask some questions. What Torah shall we have to? Keep this up. Huh? You got questions? Or you guys know the entire Torah already?
So
I know.
you're supposed to be fruitful and multiply.
Ken.
So how do I hear that women aren't obligated to have children?
Okay. So the mitzvah of being fruitful and multiplying is a mitzvah for men, meaning that the men are obligated to be fruitful and multiply. They're lo tov adam bilvado. The man is not good by himself. And the Gemara in Masechet Pesachim actually teaches us something extraordinary that most men are not going to like to hear. And bright women are going to love it. Women that are looking for excuses to go against the Torah are going to hate it. You ready? The Chachamim ask, what is the most critical, foundational obligation of a wife? Most important part, you have a wife. Now, if you go into certain keilot, especially the ones that came from the Middle East like me, they're going to tell you to cook, clean, serve me, be like no different than how we were in Mitzrayim. Just be my wife, though. But in reality, what is the Gemara, the Torah, our oral Torah, say is the ultimate obligation? Meaning, if she does this, she's perfect. Nothing more, nothing less. The Gemara in Masechet Pesachim says something extraordinary. If she takes care of your kids and stop you from sinning, she's fulfilled her obligation as a wife. No cooking, no cleaning, no nothing. Obviously, all the other things she should do to be a good wife. But if she, the Gemara, the Chachamim say, they have a debate, if she takes care of your kids, meaning she brought your kids to the world, and she stops you from sinning, wasting seed, finished. She's good, she's perfect, she's Eshet Chayil. Eshet Chayil. So all of these guys that think that their wives are supposed to be servants, cleaning ladies, or they're supposed to be doing all types of things, that if she's already doing those two things, The Gemara says she's Eshet Chayil. Obviously, if she does more, it's even more. But for that, Rabotai Yekarim, especially the men, you need to understand that every single time your wife gives you a cup of coffee, your wife gives you a cup of tea, your wife gives you extra kavod, your wife makes you feel like a king, all of those things are above and beyond. All of those things, of course, that's important for marriage. But the important part to understand is that today, if we actually understood what each person's role is in a marriage, what each person's role is in the world, life would be much easier. So first and foremost, why does the Gemara say such a thing? Because the obligation of bringing children to the world is only an obligation of the man. Bringing children to the world is an obligation of the husband. It's not an obligation for the wife. Meaning, if she does it, she's ezer kenegdo. She's ezer. She is helping him fulfill his obligation. She's helping him, not he's helping her by making her a baby oven. A lot of guys think that they're doing their wives a favor by causing her to bring kids to the world. No, who are you going to hang out with all day? Like, they think they're doing her a favor. In reality, every time she brings another child to the world, she is doing you the biggest favor in the world. Why? You're fulfilling a mitzvah, plus you're replicating yourself, and her obviously, and you're actually having an opportunity to continue your lineage, your Torah, your mitzvot, everything that you're doing. Now, if you're not planning on being religious, it's better you don't have kids. Why? Because if you're making sins by yourself, you're making sins by yourself. It ends with you. It ends with you, like Paro. It ended with Paro. But if you're going to be religious, it's better that you have as many kids as possible. Why? You have a kiruv machine in your house. Each one that does mitzvot goes to you and your wife's schuyot in Shamayim. So the wife that sends their husbands to go play baseball and to go watch soccer games with the guys and to go do all the things that they're not really supposed to be doing, obviously she's not going to want to replicate this because he's not really such a good husband. But she's also a partner in the crime. Why? Instead of sending him to a shiur Torah, she sent him to have a beer with the guys. Instead of sending him to learn how to be a good husband that understands what we just said, what the Torah actually said about what the wife's role is and what the husband's role is, she sent him to go work and make more money. So he doesn't know how to be a husband, miskin. So what do you expect? A lot of these wives don't understand that sending their husbands to go shiur Torah is much, much more important than them learning Torah. Like sometimes a wife says, no, I want to go learn. I want to go learn. You babysit the kids. You babysit the kids, I'm going to go learn because I like to learn. This is a mistake. Why? The obligation of learning Torah is on him, and then when he comes home and he's a decent human being, he's going to teach you Torah. He's going to teach you Torah. So there's never a situation where your Torah as a wife takes role over the husband's. Of course it's important for the wife to go learn Torah. She has to learn the basics, but not if it's going to replace the husband's. It's never this or that. It always has to be the husband, and if all works out, and he already learned for the day, or something like that, they have something arrangement where he's already learned. It's not replacing his learning. He's already done his. It's a different story. Obviously, each marriage has to know how to, each person has to know how to play their role. But again, a lot of wives think that their learning is more important than their husband's, so they are Rabbi Akiva, and he's Menashe Bishmor Tshuva. So it's very, very important to know that it's critical to send our husbands to shiur Torah. And the reason why I specifically mention shiur Torah and not just to go learn Torah is because if the husband is learning by himself, unless he's already a Talmid Chacham, unless he's already been learning for many, many years, and he has shimush, he's been next to rabbis that have directed him more or less for at least, a decade or so, where he knows, here, we don't touch. Here, okay. Here, I have to ask the rabbi before I do it. Unless he has shimush, unless he has a serious connection with rabbanim, or at least one rav that directs him, it's better off that he goes to shiur Torah instead of learning by himself. And the reason why is because he doesn't know how to learn by himself. A guy that just starts learning by himself is bound to make mistakes. And the Gemara says, in Masechet Yomai, I believe, page 119, that Masechet Yevamot 109, Yomai is sometimes. Yevamot 109 says that a person that doesn't have a rabbi, God hates him. Why? Why does God hate somebody who doesn't have a rabbi? What's the problem? Because a person that learns Torah by himself without a rabbi, he could be making mistakes his entire life and never does tshuva. Why? He's too arrogant to go get himself a rabbi. He thinks he knows better than the rabbi. So most important thing that a woman needs to understand is that she's supposed to be ezer kenegdo. She's supposed to be the hand that helps her husband get to his full potential. She has to send it to shiur Torah. The Gemara Masechet Brachot says that a woman gets har olam haba by sending her husband to shiur Torah. In return, the husband needs to understand that every single time she sends him to shiur Torah, he has to kiss her feet. He has to say thank you. Why? I'm not going to be an amaretz for the rest of my life. I'm not going to be an ignorant for the rest of my life. Now, if she obviously is helping him even more so by bringing kids to the world, wow. Wow. It's already a big bonus. If she's stopping him from sinning, it's Eshet Chayil. That's what we sing every Friday night. Eshet Chayil, meaning tzah. We sing about her. Not if she cooks and cleans every 2 seconds and you can see a reflection on the floor. If she does it, great, but that's not what makes an Eshet Chayil. That's not what makes an Eshet Chayil. So it's important to understand the roles that we have. Why? Because if each person knows their role, it's much easier to have a successful marriage. But if the wife wants the husband's role and the husband wants the wife's role, then we're confused. And that's why we have 80% divorce rates in the secular world, and even in the religious world, the percentages are going higher, maybe 4 or 5% already, which is despicable in religious standards, for Judaism at least. So when it comes to the wife, bringing children to the world is an extremely big chesed she's doing for the husband. And the husband is obligated to bring one boy and one girl. One boy and one girl. Until they have one boy and one girl, he is not allowed to say, no, let's not have any more kids. She is, because she's not obligated. But obviously, it would be, if it's a healthy marriage, then both of them want to have more kids. Now, having kids is not such a easy thing, simply because the husband needs to understand that he has to be conscious of both her physical and her mental health. You can't just have kids if it's going to kill the wife. And having kids is not based on money. You're never allowed to not have a child because of money. There's no eter for that. Why? Because money comes from Shemaim. That's just choser emunah. It's just lack of emunah. Every baby comes with a bank account. Bank account from Hashem. Everybody that wants to be a millionaire and says, no, I'm going to have another kid once I'm a millionaire, they're making a very big mistake. Why? Because the next kid can be that $1 million. Parnasah comes from Shemaim. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to having children, you can't just force the woman to have more and more kids, because if she's sick, or she's not physically well, or she just had a kid literally a few months ago, you have to give her body time to heal. The same goes if she's not psychologically there. She's not psychologically prepared to have a child. This is why it's very important to have a very serious and close relationship with your local rabbi, and that knows all the hidden details of the marriage. Not just some rabbi that you watch his lectures once in a while. Not just some rabbi that you go to his shul and you say hello on Friday. A rabbi that knows the details of your marriage, that you tell him what's going on. You tell him what's happening in your life. He knows. Why? Because if you have a real rabbi, that's a real rabbi. You tell him everything that's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. If you have a real rabbi, then he can give you real advice. But if you have a superficial rabbi, a rabbi that you go visit once a week, a rabbi that you watch his lectures once in a while, he's not going to give you a decision based on you. He's going to give you a general thing. And any real Talmid Chacham is usually not going to refrain from giving you any real decisions. He's going to tell you, listen, you have to check with your rabbi. No, but you're my rabbi. I'm my rabbi. Well, you watch my lecture once a month. I'm your rabbi. That doesn't make somebody your rabbi. What makes somebody your rabbi is if you tell him, mamash, details of your life. Specific details of your marriage. Specific details of everything, without hiding anything. If you hide something from your rabbi, he's not your rabbi. He's a friend. He's somebody that's religious that you know. You cannot hide anything from your rabbi. It's the same thing that you can't hide anything from a psychiatrist or a doctor or a lawyer. It's the same concept. Anyone that you want that you need help from, you have to disclose everything, even the things that are uncomfortable. Even the things that are uncomfortable. So when it comes to bringing children to the world, all of these things have to go into account. First of all, do you have a boy and a girl? Because once you have a boy and a girl, then already automatically there's more leniency. If, let's say, for example, you already have multiple kids and the wife is just not prepared, there's already more leniency in regards to if, let's say, she's not ready yet or you're not ready yet. There's more leniency already. But if there's no boy and girl, there's much less leniency. Doesn't mean that you have to have a kid right this second if she's physically not well, but there's less leniency. Second thing is, how do you not have kids? Like, obviously, according to our Torah, the Shulchan Aruch says, wasting seed is the number one sin in Judaism. Worst possible sin. How do they determine what's the worst, what's the least? Because the Mishnah in Pirkei Avot says that you can't judge mitzvot and averot. Don't judge too big, too small. You don't know. We don't know the weight of it. How do we know then? The Shulchan Aruch knows, and we know based on the punishment. What's the reward and punishment? According to our Torah, the punishment for wasting seed is the worst possible punishment that you can get, similar to the punishment of Chilul Shabbat, similar to the punishment of Chilul Hashem. These are the three biggest sins in Judaism. There are obviously many other really terrible sins, but these are the three horrible, horrible sins. And for anyone that's going to ask about, what about Eshet Ish, someone that goes with a married woman, obviously that's double punishment because it's both wasting seed and it's being with a married woman, so it's even more so. But in essence, the wasting seed is the worst. So now, since we cannot use what the Goyim call protection, how do we not have kids? The man is not allowed to use anything that's going to get in the way of his seed. Not allowed. It's forbidden to use anything that's going to get in the way of the seed. So you can't use condoms or anything of such. It's 100% forbidden because that guarantees there's no chance of there being a baby. On the other hand, there's similar things for the woman. She's also forbidden from using it. So there are two options that are left. Oh, obviously we're not allowed to mechila mikvotchem, but this obviously is necessary to make sure that the seed is outside of the body. That's 100% asul, and also it's forbidden for the seed to go in a different place in the body. It can only go in one location where it's supposed to. So this leaves us with only two options. What are the two options? If for example, if somebody wants to have kids, then obviously that's the obvious options. I don't need to tell you. What's the options if let's say, for example, you have an eitel, you have a leniency from your rabbi? It says, you know what, you just had a kid, or I don't know, a few months ago, you could wait, let's check it out again in 6 months, or in 9 months, or even in a year, depending on your rabbi, depending on your situation. He reviews it on a regular basis. What do you do during that time? Obviously, the man is the man, and the woman is the woman. What do you do? So there are two options. One is that there is pills, birth control pills. Now, birth control pills are not ideal. Number one, because they mess up with the woman's hormones. That could cause a lot more damage than necessary, and a lot of women hate it. Especially more mature women that are older. It messes up the hormone system. It creates a lot of damage in the body. So this is terrible. There is another thing that's similar to like a candle, which it's a suppository that the woman puts in that area of the body, and this obviously is for mature people to understand. Anyone that needs to know the details, I could send you a picture of what you buy, and this is something that you can use. But again, none of this is allowed. None of this is allowed unless there is a permission from your real rabbi. Not some rabbi that you heard a lecture. Like if you heard me right now in this lecture, this does not give you an automatic leniency, and this does not make me a rabbi. The rabbi needs to know your situation. So if you're not using, you're just going to rely on yourself. You're going to say, no, listen, everything you said, I fit in. A, B, C, I fit in all those things. It makes sense to me. I'm one of those options. It makes sense. And you decide I'm not going to talk to the rabbi. You are the person the Gemara in Masechet Yevamot Hashem is talking about. You're the person. Who's the person? I hate him. Why? You decide to be your own posek. You decide to make halacha for yourself. This dafka exactly the person that Hashem hates. You cannot be your own posek. You cannot be your own rabbi. That's why the Pirkei Avot, the Mishnah in Avot says, make yourself a rabbi and run away from safek, from doubt. Eliminate any doubt. Someone that has Yirat Shamayim needs to understand that safek has the same numerical value, same gematria as Amalek. That's what Amalek's job is in the world. Amalek's job is not just to kill us flesh and blood. Amalek's job is sometimes just to create doubts in your mind. Like this guy that sent me a text the other day, and he says to me, can I ask you a question? And then he asked the question. He doesn't actually wait for the permission to ask the question. Baruch Hashem. Already I know he's not listening to me. So he says, why did God create the world? Like, this is the kind of question that you can answer on text. I mean, I could make a lecture just on that question for maybe 1,000 hours. Just on that one question, 1,000 hours straight, and still not answer it completely. Why did God create the world? It's not an easy question. So I said, what's the answer? Watch the series. Start with number 1. You have 95 to go. You'll get the answer in the series. No, it's too long. Every lecture is 3 hours. I said, so you're not serious about the question then. You know, it's a very big question. Why did God create the world? It's not a 1, 2, 3. Why did I like Oreos over Chips Ahoy? Why do I like soft ice cream versus hard ice cream? It's not. It's a big question. You give some respect to the question. You're asking if you're really serious about the answer. So I knew already that he's not looking for answers. So what happened? So he's giving me the answer. What's the answer? He says, oh, if God was motivated to do something, that means that he's not the first cause. That means something motivated him. So that's the first God. So I said, so you're not asking a question. You're just looking to justify your heretical mind because you've been told so many types of heresy that it's been tattooed in your brain. This kfirah is tattooed in your brain. You're not looking for answers. You're looking for excuses to justify your heretical behavior. So a person needs to understand, when you have a rabbi, that rabbi is supposed to remove you from the safek. That rabbi is supposed to remove you from all of those thoughts that are 100% kfirah in Hashem, heresy in Hashem. You cannot be your own posek. You cannot just decide, oh, this Gemara means this. How? How do you know this Gemara means this? Oh, it makes sense to me. Do you have anything to rely on? Nothing. They can come up empty. Now, of course, when you study, you can't always study with the rabbi. So Hashem had mercy on us, and He gave us books with commentary, Baruch Hashem. Even more so, He gave us a Torah institution like Art Scroll, and even others like it, similar to it, that are actually giving us even commentary on the commentary. So a person that studies Torah needs to do a combination of both. One, study with the shiur Torah with his rabbi. If he can do one-on-one, it's even better. And study on his own. It has to be a combination. It can't be just on his own. It can't be just shiur Torah. It always has to be a combination. Why? Because there's going to be certain things that you need to learn directly from the Rav. There's going to be certain things you need to learn on your own. If you just rely on the shiur Torah, you're never going to be gadol b'Torah. You're never going to be big in Torah from your shiur Torah. You're going to be nice. You're going to be a decent human being. But becoming gadol b'Torah, meaning, I'm not even talking about gadol ador. I'm talking about somebody that, you know what, when the Mashiach, before he comes, all of you have to understand, it's not going to be a pretty picture like everybody paints. Okay, I'm going to give you a just very, very soft understanding. It's not going to be a pretty picture. You know, everybody celebrates Mashiach, Mashiach, Mashiach. They have the cars going in the roads, screaming Mashiach. He's already here. He's coming. All this stuff. Listen, according to the Sfarim HaKadoshim, it's not going to be a pretty picture, Rabotai. The Rambam says before Mashiach comes, it's going to be 15 days of darkness. In Yetziat Mitzrayim, 80% to 99% of Am Yisrael died in 3 days of darkness. It means it's going to be 5 times worse. B'ezrat Hashem, more survive. But the point is, it's not going to be a pretty picture. Whatever we saw in Mitzrayim is going to be much more. That's why the book of Jeremiah says, Hashem is not going to be remembered as the Hashem that took Am Yisrael out of Mitzrayim, but rather the Hashem that took Am Yisrael out of the land of the north And the other four corners of the world, what's the land of the north? North America. North America. North America is where America is, and Canada, which is the majority of the Jews in the world outside of Israel. So, it's not going to be such an easy thing. During that time, during the times of when Mashiach is coming, which is right now, there's going to be a lot of big questions, a lot of doubts, a lot of problems, a lot of misunderstandings, battles, questions. Amalek is going to come in all shapes and sizes. He's going to come from your friends, from the family, from the rabbis, from the institutions, sometimes from books that you misunderstood. I had somebody send me a question the other day about Rabbi Akiva. I said, what's your source that you asked this question? The question came from somewhere. I know that student. Where did this question come from? She says, that's it. There's this book. I look up the book. I said, it's written by a conservative heretic. Your source is corrupt. Therefore, the question is corrupt. You buy books that you think are Sifrei Torah, but they're not. They're books of heresy. But unless you know, you don't know. Most dangerous person is a person who doesn't know he doesn't know. So, the days before Mashiach are going to be very, very difficult days. It's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of Amalek in all different shapes and sizes. Your Keilah, your friends, the family, this, that, in every shape. Which means that unless you're glued to Hashem, unless you're glued to Him, where you're Gadol B'Torah, not necessarily Rav Kanievsky. Gadol B'Torah meaning the Torah is a big part of you. Your whole life is based on Torah. What do I do here? What does the Torah say? What do I do tomorrow? What does the Torah say? What did I do yesterday? What Torah say? What am I supposed to do with my wife? What Torah say? What do I do with the husband? What Torah say? With the kids? What Torah say? Everything you ask yourself, what does the Torah say? What's Da'at Torah? Not what's Da'ati. What's my opinion? What does the Torah say? Torah says this, okay, I do this. But I don't like it. Doesn't make a difference, you don't like it. What's Da'at Torah? When you have Da'at Torah, you're going to survive. You're going to prosper, even though Amalek is everywhere. Amalek is everywhere. For anyone who doesn't realize it, don't worry, you'll see it soon. Baruch Hashem, we have the zchut to see it every day. And I'm telling you guys all the time, you guys do me a favor, you come to shiur Torah. Why? If it wasn't for doing kiruv, I don't know if I would make it. I'm telling you honestly. Someone that's not glued to Torah, I don't know. I don't believe, in my opinion, from learning from rabbis, big Talmidei Chachamim, seeing a lot of stories, a lot of ups and downs. Someone's not glued to Torah every single day, there's no chance for them to make it. Why? At some point you're going to fall. The 15 days of darkness are not just literally speaking. It's also figuratively speaking. There's darkness everywhere. You go to Beit Knesset, they have, instead of shiur Torah, they have sheshbesh tournaments. Now everybody going to that sheshbesh tournament thinks it's a kosher Beit Knesset, thinks it's a kosher, Ilui Nishmat, so-and-so. Sheshbesh tournament, what? What's the problem? The rabbi went to Yeshiva University. He's a Talmid Chacham, no? He's a Talmid Chacham, he's a Na'alain. The Na'al is better than him. The shoe. A rabbi that has a Sheshbesh tournament or any type of gambling tournament in a Beit Knesset, a shoe is better than him. At least the shoe didn't sin. Didn't become Machti Arabim. But the people, the poor people, they think they're doing a mitzvah. Beit Knesset, what? I even donated some money, some people will tell you. I donated some money for the Ilui Nishmat. What Ilui Nishmat? What Ilui Nishmat? Confused people. But it's also their fault. They'll be judged for it too, for the people that attend. Why? Why don't you learn Torah and realize it's asur? Why don't you learn Torah and realize it's asur? It's not allowed to go to such events. It's not allowed to be part of such events. Why don't you go? Why don't you learn? Why? Oh, I was busy. Were you busy? Working. Oh, who gave you money? God. Okay, so why don't you go and learn about the same God that gave you the money? So, the important thing is, even the dogs are cheering, man. I'm telling you guys, why? He's right. He's right. You should listen. So, the important thing that you have to understand is that when each person focuses on their role, you succeed. As a woman, you want to be a good wife. Obviously, above and beyond what the minimum is, it makes you a better wife. But nonetheless, a woman needs to understand that she has to be the spiritual engine of the family. She has to push her husband to go learn Torah. If she pushes him to go learn Torah instead of to go make money, you'll have a good marriage. If she goes, pushes him to go make money, she could buy a fancier bag, you're not going to have a good marriage, guaranteed. If all you care about is material, you're not going to have a good marriage. You may have stuff, but the stuff, by the way, doesn't go to Olam Haba. Doesn't go, stays here. So you work 70 years for all the stuff, you show up to Shammai and say, oh, what about my stuff? It stays over there. Yeah, but I don't have anybody to inherit it. We didn't even have any kids. Exactly. So it stays there for the dogs and the cats and everybody else is going to eat it. You work for stuff your whole life, you can't even use it. No one says you're not allowed to have stuff, but it's not priority. So a woman needs to make sure she understands her role is to do what Rachel, the wife of Rabbi Akiva, what was the condition of marriage? She was half of his age. She was gorgeous. Her father was the Gvir, the richest man in the world. What did she say to Rabbi Akiva? Go learn Torah. Go learn Torah. That's why she got Olam Haba. She didn't get Olam Haba because her father was rich. She didn't get Olam Haba. And the whole oral Torah is because of her. Because she was pretty. She didn't get Olam Haba because her name was Rachel, the same way as our, matriarchs. Name doesn't mean anything, by the way. Why did she get Olam Haba? She sent her husband to go learn Torah. And her husband went to learn Torah, and Baruch Hashem, we have the oral Torah now. So, wife, you want to be a super Eshet Chayil, you have obviously the minimum requirement, and you have above and beyond. Husband, you have to convince her to do that. You have to give her a reason. You have to give her a reason of why she should want you to go to shiur Torah. I spoke to a guy on Friday night, and we're talking a little bit, and said, wife, I was talking about a similar subject. Said, yeah, the wife's, it's important for them to go to shiur Torah. He goes, yeah, but what about if the wife is a little mefuneket? She's a little spoiled. She doesn't want me to go to shiur Torah. He always says, how come you're not with me? How come you're not this? Take me shopping, take me this, take me that. Babysit the kids. Let me go out with my girlfriend. All types of things. Whatever. Wives, they don't want to be babysitters all day. Saying, I already had the babies. You watched them. Fair deal, no? I had the babies. You watched them. It's your kids anyway. He says, what about in a situation like that? I said, it's the husband's fault. He goes, no. You're not understanding. She's the one that doesn't want me to go to shiur Torah. I said, yeah, it's the husband's fault. He goes, no. Explain again. I want to go shiur Torah. I want to go learn Torah. But she tells me don't go. Because she wants me to hang out with her. And she wants me to eat with her. And she wants me to babysit the kids. And I said, yeah, it's the husband's fault. How's the husband's fault? I said, because the husband, she sent him to a few shiur Torah already, right? Because yeah. And what happened? She doesn't want him to go to shiur Torah. Now, why? She's not seeing any results. She sent him to shiur Torah. He went there Esav. He came back Esav. He went there Esav with no midot. Terrible husband. Cheap. Stingy. Angry. Arrogant. Annoying. And so on. And he came back with even worse midot. Now he's all of those things and he thinks he knows something. It's even worse. Before he was just menuval, now he's naval b'rshut Torah. Now he's double. He thinks he knows. It's like somebody came to his rabbi and he said, Kvod Harav, I can't find a shidduch. The rabbi says, what do you mean you can't find a shidduch? I sent you 20 girls. Every girl, no. He says, I don't know, Kvod Harav, they're not good enough. So the rabbi says, you know what? He doesn't realize he has a problem. What's the problem? He's arrogant. So he says, if I tell him he's arrogant, maybe you're going to take it to a side. The rabbi was the Tamid Chacham, Baal Musar. He says, you know what? I have the right thing for you. Go to my friend. He's a big Talmid Chacham. Study with him 6 months. There's a Sgula. You learn with him 6 months. You come back to me. You're going to find a shidduch. Kvod Harav, great idea. Thank you very much. He goes, what's this Talmid Chacham that he sent him to? Baal Musar, teach him humility. He says, once this guy learns a little bit of humility, then I'm going to give him a shidduch and he's going to realize, oh, it's a good shidduch. Okay, let's get married. So he goes there 6 months later. He comes back. His head's looking on the floor. He's looks a little humbler. Oh, Hashem. He brings him a shidduch, rejection. Oh, okay, maybe this is something. Okay, gives him another shidduch, rejection. So I said, okay, we're repeating the same thing we had. I'm not going to give him another 20. What happened? So he meets with the guy. He says, no, what happened? I give you 2 shidduchim. You're rejecting everybody again. What happened? Because listen, Kvod Harav. Before I went, I learned a lot of Torah. I worked on the entire Shulchan Aruch, the entire Gemara, the entire this, the entire that. And already the 20 girls that you showed me weren't good enough. Now that I'm humble, nobody's going to be good enough. You understand? Sometimes a person doesn't know what he doesn't know. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. So he thinks he's humble, but he's not. So the husband, he goes, he learns Gemara, he learns Shulchan Aruch, he learns all types of things, but he comes back home, same thing, or even worse. He goes Esav, he comes back Esav. Nothing changed. So why would the wife want to send him to shiur Torah? Why? She says, all I'm doing is just headaches with the kids by myself, headaches with all of the wife. For what? He went there stingy, came back even stingier. He went there angry, he's even angry. Like, what's for what? So she doesn't want to go to shiur Torah. I said, this is for. Now, if you show a totzah, you show a result, you go to shiur Torah, you go Esav, you come back Yaakov. Okay. What's she going to do? What's the normal wife going to do? To tell you, do me a favor, stay in the shiur Torah even longer. Why? If every time you come back, you're coming back a better diamond, you come back a little better, it's a better reflection, it's more valuable, stay in the shiur Torah for a week, stay 24 years like Rabbi Akiva. Why? I want the best husband in the world. So for all of those husbands that have difficult wives, it's not because they're difficult only. It's because you're not showing them any results. To go learn just halachot and to learn the Gemara without changing your character traits is not enough. It's not enough to convince your wife to support your Torah learning. Not enough. If the Torah is not making you a better human being, you're not learning Torah, you're just learning history. You're learning a rule book. It's no different than learning a cookbook, chas v'shalom. If it's not making you a better human being, you're not learning Torah. You have to become a better human being. You have to work on your character traits. It's very difficult. No questions asked. It's very difficult. But I see a lot of times people are learning Torah, they think each one is Moshe, Rashi, Rambam, Tosfot. Everybody thinks that. Not one of them knows how to give a decent respect to a Talmid Chacham, or even to half a Talmid Chacham, or even to just a fellow Jew. No respect, no kavod whatsoever, no patience. Many of them fight. It's mamash. It's tov vavo. Why? But they all feel like they're learning Torah. What Torah are you learning? Why? You learn Parashat Shavua. What'd you learn? Even Parashat Shavua. You learn Parashat Shavua, you're going to learn Musar. So, when a person knows and understands their role, the wife knows, okay, I'm going to go send my husband. Why? To go become a better husband. If he's a better husband, and he's going to teach me how to be a better wife. If I become a better wife, he's going to become even a better husband. And everything becomes great. But if both of you, if he's Esav and she's Izevil, it's not going to work out. It's not going to work out. So the Torah is supposed to be an instruction book of how to become a better human being. If you're not becoming a better human being, you're learning the wrong Torah. Simply put. Sadly, many people are learning the wrong Torah. So, the important thing is to know is that, again, the wife is a critical player in the mission of the husband. Without her, he cannot succeed. He cannot succeed without her. This is why it's very important for a husband to be grateful. To be grateful for his wife, for everything she does. And if we actually only understood what it means to be grateful, our whole lives would change. Before I go into what it means to be grateful, if you guys want to learn about that a little bit, you can ask some more questions. Can I have a cup, please, if you don't mind, somebody? Next question. Yeah. Louder, louder.
If you buy like a mug or any kind of cup or something from the store, what is the process of kosher?
Oh, okay, thank you. If you're buying for example, a piece of glass. You have to take it to the mikveh. There's a Jewish communities typically have a mikveh, and in the mikveh, usually there's a mikveh for people to dip in themselves. For the men, there's one mikveh. For women, there's another mikveh. And then there's a third mikveh, which is just for kilim, just for different utensils, for pots, pans, and so on. So if it's glass or steel or something like that, you have to take it to the mikveh. Now, if it's plastic, you don't have to take it to the mikveh. So if it's a plastic, plastic utensil of some type, plastic plate, plastic cup, you don't have to take it to the mikveh. But if it's glass or if it's metal, then you have to take it to the mikveh before you use it. Without taking it to the mikveh, you're not allowed to use it. Not allowed to use it. Now, actually taking it to the mikveh is a very, very interesting experience. And it's a very holy experience. You go there, and once you have to take everything out of the wrappers, if it's brand new. You have to take everything out of the wrappers first. You have to wash it to clean it. So and you have to make sure that there's no stickers on it. There's nothing stopping the flow of water touching every single part of the cup or the plate or the knife or so on, whatever it is. After you've removed all of the stickers and everything is in, and you've cleaned it with soap, then you do the blessing, which usually the blessing is on the wall, and you dip each one of them. Now, until you finish dipping everything, you're not allowed to talk. So even if it takes you an hour to dip, you have, let's say, your whole kitchen, you're dipping the whole thing, it's going to take you a little while to do all of it. Now to talk the whole time. So it's good. You could listen to shiur Torah if you want. You could, listen to shiur Torah if you want. And but you're not allowed to talk yourself. And it's a very, very interesting how just the experience itself. Every time it's just I've done it a few times, and every time it's carries a different weight. But this is also what separates us from the goyim. The critical part of being a Jew is to understand that we're not animals. Now, I'm not calling the goyim animals. There's many of them that are chazdei umot ha'olam, that are very good people. But there are many that are not. Like this terrorist that killed a bunch of innocent people in a school just a few days ago. Who you're telling me is possibly a Jew, chas v'shalom, but he knows that he's a Jew, but he hates Jews. He's a Nazi, hater of a Jew. So it reminds me of the Holocaust. There's a few of them. There's a few Nazi Jews. We said it in our couple of shiurim that we talked about the Holocaust. Talked about a few things that people don't like to talk about or hear about, but it's true. There are a few, or more than a few, Nazis that were actually Jews, that hated their Judaism so much that they joined the Nazis without telling the Nazis that they're actually Jewish, because if the Nazis knew they were Jewish, they'd kill them too. But anyway, people that get to that point of psychosis, of just being crazy, lunatics, murderers, it doesn't just happen one day. This is something that is a lifelong of events. And one of the most critical parts that makes a person such a psychopath, without literally being just a mentally ill. If someone is meshugah, someone is literally mentally ill, it's a different story. It's a chemical imbalance of some kind. But I'm talking about somebody just is an evil person. Evil person. They don't just wait. They're not born evil. They're a baby just like you were a baby, just like I was a baby. Every baby's cute. Even Hitler, Yimach Shemo v'Zichro, was cute as a baby. Every baby's cute. They're a baby. And Hashem specifically made them cute because if they weren't cute, the parents would kill them. Seriously. I'm not joking. Why? Try to be a parent. Try to be a parent in the first few months, you don't sleep. You lose your mind. But then you look at the baby, you're so cute. So he's like, okay, I'm not going to sleep for the next 2 years because of this cute baby. But if the baby looked like a little troll, you throw him in the garbage. I know nobody wants to. This is truth. Every parent would tell you this. Every parent would tell you this. Why? If the baby wasn't cute, they'd sell him on eBay. But he's cute or she's cute. I'm telling you, seriously. I'd say politically correct, not correct, doesn't make a difference. It's a reality. Because he's cute, because she's cute, you keep them, and even though you're not going to sleep for the next 20 years because of them. They're cute. But anyway, the truth is that every baby was cute, but eventually Hitler became Hitler. This Nick, his name was, Yimach Shemo, this Nick kid became Nick. The other terrorists before him and after him become what they are. What happens in between? I can tell you from one thing, one ingredient that every single Rasha in the world has. Both the murderers and the day-to-day Rasha that's stealing from you. They do not know how to control their desires. Common ingredient, all of them have. Some of us have this poison also. But obviously much less. We're not psychopaths, Baruch Hashem. It all starts with not being able to control your desires and thinking that it's the world's fault, not yours. They're at fault. They're at fault for you having this desire and not being able to fix it, not being able to accommodate it, satiate it. You're hungry and you don't have food? Oh, it's the white man's world. That's why I'm going to, let's kill some white people. Why? They have all the money. That's why I don't have any food. Well, if you actually went to the store and you gave the store clerk money, he'd give you food, even if you're black, green, yellow. It doesn't make a difference what color it is. He wants money that's green. You have it. He'll sell it to you. No, it's the white man's fault. Or on the opposite, they're going to tell you, listen, I didn't get the career that I want. It's the Jewish people's fault. Yeah, they're controlling all the banks. They're controlling Hollywood. They're controlling this. They're controlling that. No. It's not that. If you go to school, you learn a few things. You go apply for a job. Someone's going to hire you. It has nothing to do with the Jews. Some people that are the most successful people in the world are not Jews. In fact, majority of them are not Jews. There's only 20 million of us. There's 8 billion people in the world. But no, he wants to blame the Jews. He wants to blame the white people. He wants to blame the black people. He wants to blame the yellow people. He wants to blame this. Everybody wants to blame somebody. For their loserism. For them being losers. For them having a desire they cannot control. The guy wants to get a certain girl, but he realizes she's married. He wants to kill her boyfriend now, or her husband now. Why? It's my girl. It's not your girl. He got her, and that's it. What's the problem? He doesn't know how to control himself. Whether it's food, or it's money, or it's career, or it's a woman, or it's anything else. When a person does not know how to control himself, he becomes a mini Hitler, and depending on how far he lets it travel and grow, he can become a big Hitler. Why? Because Hitler's Amalek is going to tell you it's everyone else's fault. It's everyone but me. Simply not being able to control your desires. You want something and you can't control the fact that you want. You want it right now. I tell you, listen, you can get what you want. It's going to take 5 years. It's going to take 10 years. A lot of people, I had this one kid come to my office many years ago for an interview. One of my least favorite things in the world to do was to interview people. But when you're a business owner, it's something that you have to do because these people are going to be in your office. And when you work as hard as I did, or many business owners do, it's pretty much your house. So you want to make sure that the guy's going to be in your house every day. You want to know that he's a decent human being. So I had this one guy come to me, and he's looks all suave, and he's looks like he's $1 million, even though he's got $30 to his name. And I asked him a very simple question. Why do you want to do this? Why are you here? And he tells me, I want your job. I want what you have. I want everything you do. Okay, great, but what did you do? Like, okay, fine. The money aspect, fine. I get it. Everyone. So that's not an answer. Having a lot of money is not a reason of why you want this career. If I just gave you the money, would you still want the career? What, you want $5, you want $5 million, you want $500 million, whatever it is. If I just give you the money, would you still want to work? Oh, I didn't think about it. Oh, so you just want money. That's not an answer. That's not an answer. So it's important to think about your answers before you answer them. The thing is, though, a lot of people want the results. But they don't want what it takes to get the results. At least once or twice a week, somebody tells me they want to be a speaker. They want to teach Torah, they want to be a speaker. I say, okay, go ahead, go be a speaker. You have to learn Torah, you have to know what you're doing. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to start doing it. I'm going to start, okay, this is great. Chazak u'baruch, enjoy. No, but I can do it. Okay, you don't have to convince me. I don't have a monopoly on speaker. Why do you want to be a speaker? So sometimes I ask them, why do you want to be a speaker? Look, you have all the people follow, people watch it online, they make comments. That's why you want to be speaker, so people make comments. You want to be a speaker so people make comments, so people send you emails. You know what the sad part is? I thought about this long and hard before I said it. I'm going to say it now. That's the root of the problem of the kiruv world today. The root of the problem of the kiruv world today, and I don't just mean the new guys. I'm talking about overall. That everybody just is doing it because they want to be famous. People want to be famous. People want to be celebrities. People want to be Tony Robbins, Michael Jackson, Eddie Lampert, Warren Buffett. People want to be on TV. People want people want to be famous. They care less. They care less about actually helping people do tshuva. They care more about being famous. So they'll have a lecture based on what you want to hear, not necessarily what you need to hear. And this is why in almost every single flyer you're going to see about, Rabbi so-and-so is coming to speak, is coming to event, it's always the same three topics. Shlom bayit, money, and something in between them. It's always this generic topic, and, that's why. It's a neutral topic that everyone needs to learn about, that doesn't obligate anyone, and makes you famous. It makes you famous. Why? No one's going to go against you. Hey, your shlom bayit shiur, it's too much. It's too harsh on people. Yeah, you know that shiur you had about money? Nah, man, that's too much. You're being too strict. You told us that if we keep Shabbat, we're going to make more money. That's too strict. It's too strict. What are you going to tell them? What are you going to say? Everybody's going to love you. You're going to talk about money. You talk about relationships that everybody needs to deal with. Talk about kids, let's say, or marriages. Wow. Famous. People send their Dvarei Torah, their clips everywhere. Oh, look what this rabbi said. And it's another clip about Shlom Bayit. Oh, look at what this rabbi said. It's another clip about how to make more money. Oh, look what this rabbi said. It's another clip of how to be motivated. Everybody's trying to be Tony Robbins or one of these goyim that succeeded making money. From what? Motivating people into doing things they should be doing anyway. But as far as tshuva, no one cares. No one cares. Simply put, no one cares. Why? If they cared, the results would speak for themselves. You wouldn't have only a handful of rabbis in the world talking about Chilul Shabbat, Mot Yumat, V'nicheta Nefesh Me'amea. You wouldn't have a handful of rabbis just saying that if you don't keep Shabbat, you're considered 100% an idol worshiper. You wouldn't have only a handful of rabbis saying that if you waste seed, it's the worst sin in the Torah. You have no chance in the world to go to Gan Eden. No chance, zero, unless you do tshuva. You wouldn't have only a handful of rabbis that tell you outright that most businesses today are 100% thieves. Thieves! Honestly, I'm telling you, the more I do, the more I buy things or do things, the more I see it's literally everywhere. It's an infestation everywhere. People just simply do not know how to do honest business. I'll tell you something. It has nothing to do with just Jews or non-Jews. It's just everybody. It's like common behavior now. It's become acceptable behavior to steal. I went to a pharmacy. I needed to get some type of medicine, and the insurance wasn't covering it. So I said, okay, so how much is this medicine? She said, it's $14. Okay, I'll buy it. She goes, no, we don't have it. I said, okay, so order it. She goes, no, we're not going to order it, just one. Okay, no problem. Not going to order just one. Fine, no problem. Thank you very much. I go on, Baruch Hashem. There's more than one pharmacy. I go to another pharmacy. I tell them I need this medicine. You have insurance? No, I don't have insurance, but I'll pay for it, whatever it is. I'll pay for it. Oh, okay, no problem. It's $240. Wait, over there was $14, $240. So a little bit of a difference. A little bit of a difference. Tiny bit difference. $240. I said, okay, $240, really? Like, it's a cream. It's not made of gold. There's no gold in there. Diamonds maybe, but no gold, for sure. Let me check another pharmacy. I go to the third pharmacy, and they tell me, oh, we don't have it, but we can order it. You'll have it tomorrow, and it's $25. Baruch Hashem, deal. After you've been to doctors for as many times as I have, you know a little bit about medicine. So, the next day, they send it to me. I get it. I look. Liars, cheaters, thieves. Why? What did they give me for $25? They gave me something that's over the counter that I don't need a prescription for. But they thought I was retarded, and I don't know anything. And they just put a sticker that made it seem like it was a sticker on the sticker. That made it seem like it's a prescription, but it's not prescription. You can buy it from Amazon if you want. You can buy it from CVS. You can buy it from anywhere without prescription. This is a regular business. This was normal for them. Why did they want to make a sale? For $25, they want to cheat, they want to lie, they want for anything. This is not just a simple story happened yesterday. It's something that happens all the time, I'm telling you. Everywhere, I'm telling you, it's gotten to the point that there's no business, that I know of at least, that does not cheat or lie. They're cheating or lying to someone. Sometimes it's customers, sometimes it's employees, sometimes it's the banks, sometimes it's the vendors, sometimes it's the government. They're lying or cheating against someone, and it's acceptable behavior. Without Torah, you are 100% a thief. And unfortunately, sometimes even with Torah. Rabotai, it's not so difficult not to be a thief. It's not so difficult. But you have to have emunah in Hashem. If you think that Hashem provides the parnasah, you're going to think 500 times before you do anything illegal. Not just illegal in the eyes of man. Illegal in the eyes of Hashem. But if you think that you're the one that's making the money, I gave him, he wanted a cream, I gave him a cream. He wanted a pill, I gave him a pill. He doesn't like it, I'll return it. Now, to go return it, it's an hour of my life. Who wants to spend an hour of my life on this thing? So you just take it, you suck it up, and you just move on with your life. If you value time, you have nothing to do with your life, then go spend an hour in your life telling these people that they're liars and cheaters. But it's not going to change anything. It's become acceptable behavior to cheat and lie. So the Torah is not just to make you a better husband. It's not just to make you a better person in front of the people that are in front of you. It's to make you better in front of Him. And in front of Him, how do you know you're better in front of Him? When you ask, what are you going to do when no one's watching? Only He's the one that's watching. No one else is watching. Everybody looks like a tzaddik in a Beit Knesset. Especially on Shabbat, they have the taliyot on their heads. Everyone's Moshe Rabbeinu, Aaron HaKohen. Everyone looks like a tzaddik in a Beit Knesset. But what about in the four walls when you have an opportunity to press one button and steal $1 million? One button. And no one's ever going to know. Will you press it? It's easy to say no now, because you're sitting over here, there's no button. There's no button. But when the button's in front of you, the only way you're going to pass that test is if you worked on it before you had the button. You've perfected your character before you had the button. You've made yourself allergic. You've made yourself allergic to stealing. You're disgusted by it. If you're not disgusted by cheating or lying, you have a lot of work to do. And this, Rabotai Yekarim, you're not going to learn in the basic level shiurim that every single rabbi in the world is giving right now. Why? Because it obligates you. It's telling the same guy that's donating $1 million to their cause that he's a thief. He got the $1 million from stealing. He's telling the same guy that just funded the yeshiva, hey, by the way, your money is not clean. You're not going to Gan Eden, by the way, even with this tzedakah. You just stole it from Peter to give Paul. All you did. You're a thief. Okay, so you gave some money to the yeshiva. Good job. But what about the other $9 million? So these basic level shiurim, you're only gonna get there if you're not worried about being famous. If you're not worried about being famous, you can tell people things that obligate them. You can tell people things that make them uncomfortable. Why? Because there's definitely someone watching the shiur right this second that's saying, you know what, I'm a thief. You really think, I'm a thief? Yeah, I'm a thief. I stole. Yeah, I stole this morning, I stole this afternoon, I stole it last week, I stole it. Somebody's thinking, you know, I didn't think it was really that big of a deal. But I'm going to tell you what Torah says. Torah says that no one that has blood on their hands can enter Gan Eden. You must stop stealing. That's number one. Number two, you have to do tshuva. Tshuva is not just for the big things that are obvious. Chilul Shabbat, Eshet Ish, intermarriage. Not just for the big things. Tshuva is also for the basic things. The basic things that no one sees you're doing except Hashem Yitbarach. And that's one of the things that you're not going to learn from these basic motivational speakers that are worrying about being famous. Some famous speakers in the world, mamash, chaval. Chaval that they're famous. And the reason why is because each time a person gives a speech, in Shemaim, they judge every single word that he says. Every single word that he says. And what impact it has on how many people. In the Gemara, in Masechet Shabbat, and also says it in Masechet Avodah Zarah, and I believe also in Masechet Sotah. It says the following: if the person, in his words, had the ability to impact one person, then the judgment of that one person goes on them. Meaning, if he had the ability to impact one person, and he didn't, instead of telling the guy, by the way, you should stop driving on Shabbat, but instead he told him, by the way, if you wake up an extra hour early and say, Modeh ani Hashem, you'll make more money, even though he knows that he's making the more money on Shabbat. Instead of rebuking him to keep Shabbat, he's motivating him to make more money on Shabbat. He's given instead of a shiur of teaching him how to become a decent human being, he's teaching him how to be more motivated, like the goyim. If he had the impact on one person, he gets the judgment of the one person. He gets the punishment of the one person. The Gemara says, if he had the ability to impact his family, he gets the punishment of the family. If he had the impact on a neighborhood, he gets the punishment of the whole neighborhood. If he had the impact, possibility to impact 500 people in every lecture, he gets the punishment of 500 people. And if it was Gdol Ador, he had the impact on the entire nation, he gets the punishment of the entire nation. Not that they don't get punished. They also get punished for not doing tshuva. But he gets the punishment of all of them combined. This is Gemara Meforesh, it's not my idea. Trust me, it's a very, very big responsibility to be a speaker. And I'm telling you, chaval for all those speakers that don't speak the truth. Why? The more famous you are, the more of a genom you're building yourself if you don't say the truth. You're telling people, oh yeah, you should be nice to people. Okay, be nice to people. Start by not stealing. Be nice to God. So, it's not easy. It's not an easy thing. But I see that a lot of people are wanting to be speakers for the wrong reasons. They want to be famous. I had a guy, shul that I went to, and one time we walked next to me. I think it was a Friday night, and he started asking me some questions and so on and so forth. And he says to me, I'm going to be. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to be a speaker. I said, B'ezrat Hashem, we need more people that speak the truth. B'ezrat Hashem, you succeed. I don't know the guy yet at this point. It's just the first time we ever met. I'm going to be a speaker. Yeah, I think I can do it. B'ezrat Hashem, you can. Why not? You learn Torah, you teach. Why not? What's the problem? You know what the problem was? He wanted to be famous. That's why he wants to be a speaker. He wants to be famous. You know how I know? He doesn't show up the rest of the week. He comes to shul maybe once a week. He comes to shul maybe once a week. Maybe once a week on Shabbat when his father forces him. And the rest of the week he doesn't come. Why? But he wants to be a speaker. People want to be famous. Forget about being famous. It's a very, very big responsibility. To be a Jew, it's a big responsibility. To be a leader of the Jews in any capacity. To be a father, to be a mother, to be a child. It's all a big responsibility. You have to understand that your actions have consequences. And if you live in a world like you're in a bubble where you think that you're your own world, you're by yourself, you won't survive. But if you realize that every single thing that you do affects the people around you, affects the relationship you have with Hashem Yitbarach, affects their relationship with Hashem Yitbarach, then you start realizing that, hey, the only way I'm going to survive and get to Gan Eden is if I glue myself to this Torah. I need to know what it says. Why? Because my opinion, by default, is wrong. By default. The default option is wrong. It's the wrong answer. Why? My opinion is motivated by desires. I make decisions based on what I want, not necessarily based on what's right. I make decisions on what to eat, not because I'm hungry, but because I want a certain taste. Even if that taste, in reality, I know it's poisonous. The guy has diabetes. He knows that the certain foods are going to kill him. But he still wants it. Why? Because he makes a decision to eat it. Because it's a decision based on taste, not based on what's good for him. He makes a decision to be with a certain person, with a certain woman, not because, oh, she's going to make a good wife. No, because he wants to please himself. Both physically and in the eyes of people. Oh, she looks a certain way. She has a certain this. Or she's going to date a certain guy because, oh, he has a certain this, he has a certain that. It's all based on things, not reality, not what's good. Our decisions by default are wrong. If we don't use the Torah as a guide before every single decision, we're guaranteed to make one wrong decision after another. With never an ending, you're never going to get it right. Ever. And anytime you get it right, it's only by chance, and eventually you're going to ruin that too. Why? Because the next decision is going to be based on desire. This is why, Rabotai, when I tell you you have to learn Parashat Shavua, you have to learn Musar, you have to learn Alachot, all of these things, it's not necessarily so everybody becomes Rav Kanievsky, or everybody becomes Rav Ovadia. It's just to survive. Survive and not get to a point of craziness like this shooter that murdered 17 people for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Psychopath. This is the 8th shooting this year. People think, oh, wow, what a terrible... It's the 8th one already. We're not even 2 months into the year. It's happening more than once a week. I remember the first shooting was 20 years ago. I think it was the Columbine shooting. When it happened, the whole nation was shocked. Oh my God, what happened? How did they get the guns? Who did it? They made a movie about it. It was a whole thing. Wow, can't believe it. It's every week. What's the surprise? It's every week. And right now it's more than every week. This one specifically focused on Jews. The community is a Jewish community. More than 40% of the students of the school are Jewish. The kid was a marked Nazi. He specifically went after Jews. More than 35% of the people that died are Jewish. I mean, you need any more hints? This is 100% Hashem talking to us. You're running out of time. You're running out of time. Gun control, no gun control is not going to help. You could eliminate every single gun in the world. It's not going to solve the crazy people problem. Yad Hashem comes in many forms. Sometimes it's guns. Sometimes it's hurricanes. Sometimes it's earthquakes. Sometimes it's bombs. Sometimes it's diseases. Sometimes it's cancer, AIDS, viruses from chicken, from cows, from the kosher institutions, from the non-kosher institutions. People think they're going to solve the world's problems because of guns or because of the FDA or the FBI or the CIA. Only way to solve the problems is being righteous with Hashem. It's the only solution. All of these other things are complete waste of time. Complete waste of time, and I'll prove it to you right now. I thought about publishing this, but then as soon as I actually already did the work, the math on it, already did the work, I erased everything. Why? Because I realized it's a complete waste of time. It's going to get people to false beliefs like they could solve the problem. Logically, you can solve the problem in all school shootings in 24 hours. 24 hours. Now, I'm not telling you because this is going to be implemented. I'm not telling you because I want to talk about politics. But I'm going to tell you how the nevuah from Hashem is coming true. In Gemara Masechet Sotah, page 49, it says the leaders will make decisions that are against their own people. Leaders are going to make decisions against their own people. If you wanted to solve the problem of school shootings, very simple. You have right now 450,000, approximately 453,000 retired veterans. But not retired because they don't want to work. Retired because they have no jobs. They're unemployed. 450,000. You have approximately 98,000 schools. 98,000 schools across America. This is including private and public. Private and public. Used to be 250,000, now it's less, it's 98,000. You have right now, approximately, if the numbers are correct, it's all from memory, you have somewhere in the neighborhood of 40,000, a little over 40,000 veterans that are homeless. Homeless. Meaning, they need more work than anybody else. They're homeless. Miskinim. People that fought for this country. People not only are not giving them food and all the benefits they should get for fighting for the country that they're here, they don't even give them a house. The average income in this country is a little over 50,000. If you give them $1,000 a week, it's less than the average income. $52,000 a year. Now, you don't even need to take all 450,000 and put them into the work world. Take the 40,000 that are homeless. Take another 60,000 of the unemployed. You got yourself 100,000. Right? You got yourself 100,000 veterans, so people know how to use a gun. You put one in every school. You put one in every school. What have you done here? Number one, you've just removed 40,000 homeless people from the street. By the way, just so you know, each homeless person costs taxpayers somewhere in the neighborhood of $31,000 a year. To support the homeless person on the street costs you $31,000 a year. So really, this is a difference of $20,000. So you removed 40,000 people off the street. Who are these people? Special people that fought for the country already. So now you remove 40,000 people off the streets. Then you gave another 60,000 that are unemployed jobs. On top of that, so now you have 100,000 people that actually have jobs. A good part of that money, 35% of that money, goes back to the government anyway in taxes. So it's not fully being paid for anyway. Now you have someone that could watch the school. Now you have someone that watches the school. Now it's not going to eliminate shooters. Crazy people are always going to come. But he's not going to kill 20 people. He's probably going to get shot after he kills 2 or 3. Already you've lowered the death by 90%, if not more. Most people are not going to go if they know there's somebody there with a gun that's better than him in the gun. So you've already lowered it by at least 90%. Now you would think, oh, this is very expensive. The government is not doing this because it's really, really expensive. It's a, to hire 100,000 people. You know how expensive it is to hire 100,000 people? It's a lot of money. It's exactly $5.2 billion. $5.2 billion. Sounds like a big number, right? The budget that the U.S. government has, just for weapons, I'm not talking about the entire GDP, the entire gross domestic, no, I'm not talking about the entire, just what they use for weapons anyway, for soldiers, for tanks, for helicopters, is $598 billion. Which means, the $5 billion you'd spend is not even 1% increase. You're not increasing the budget by even 1%. But in reality, you're not even increasing it by 0.5%, because half the money you're already spending anyway because they're homeless. The other half, you're spending it because they're sick and you have to support them anyway. In reality, it's costing zero. In reality, this is actually a revenue maker. But it's not going to happen. Why? Because God will not let it happen. It all makes sense. And I would, yeah, president. No. Has nothing to do with anything. Yad Hashem is in control. The hand of Hashem is in control. If he wants somebody to die, that somebody can die in a bathtub, in a public school, in a yeshiva, in a plane, in a car, in anything. The only way, Rabotai Yekarim, the only way you can protect yourself is if you are righteous with Hashem. The only chance for you to survive. And if you're righteous with Hashem, who cares if you died? You're going to Olam Haba anyway. Who wants to be in this world? All you're worried about is mortgages, rent payments, people cheating you, people lying to you. What do you... There's no stress in Olam Haba. If you're righteous with Hashem. If you're not righteous with Hashem, you have everything to worry about. Next question. I'm not running for president, guys. Stop. Okay, so... Yeah.
Things are very bad. That's another statement we have.
Okay.
Yesterday, somebody published a video showing animals of different species populating.
Okay, that's Solomon. That's a Dora Mabul. Yeah. So what you're asking, how bad it's going to get before the end? Well, here's the thing. The Dora Mabul didn't have Torah, and Hashem didn't give them a endless opportunities to do tshuva. He saw that they're wicked. He saw that there's no way for them to do tshuva, and therefore he decided that it's better to simply destroy them and start all over. When the amount of homosexuality that was infesting the world in those days got to such a point that it even affected the animals and even affected the ground. Hashem had to destroy 6 feet of the ground itself to remove the tumah from the world. We see that the acts of man affect the world around them. Not just other men, but also animals, air, fruits. You see many times in the Torah it talks about different things that we used to have. There used to be different animals that no longer exist. Like the animals that they actually used for the tabernacle, the tachash. This was a very, very beautiful animal that was deer-like, but it had like a rainbow type color skin. And it was an extraordinarily beautiful animal, but it no longer exists. There are many other animals that existed in the past that no longer exist. Some that we know of, obviously, from having records of them, pictures and so on, and some that we just know of them from the books. There's also the fruits and vegetables that we used to have in the Torah. It says in the Gemara that there was a certain type of fruit that if someone had it, the Chachamim, people that were able to control their desires, they wouldn't be able to control their desires anymore. It was so good, people would be willing to eat it until they died. It was located in Tveria. Certain fruits that they were literally willing to die for it, just to eat it, non-stop eating it. They would eat it in a just basic fruit. What's fruit? They're willing to die for it. That's how good, delicious it was. Today, before you eat any fruit, before you eat any vegetable, you have to check it 500 times. Why? Because most of them are infested with bugs, worms, maggots, all types of disgusting things. In those days, there's no such thing. Why? We made a lot of sins. When we make a lot of sins, it infests the fruits and the vegetables and the ground. So the issue is that, for example, right now, it's virtually impossible to find a clean strawberry or berry in general that doesn't have any type of worm or maggot or some type of bug that you're not allowed to eat. The bugs actually look like the seeds. So unless you're looking for it, you're not going to know whether it's a bug. But if you're eating it, you're making five different sins. So many of the people that are conscious of this do not eat strawberries anymore, do not eat figs anymore, do not eat berries anymore. Why? It's almost impossible to find one without some type of bug on it. Why is it? Was this always the case? No. In previous generations, it wasn't the case. It has nothing to do with technology. We have better technology today than we ever had before. But the worms are in our food today. The bugs are in our food today. Why? The sins caused the things to happen. So, as much as everybody would like to believe that this is a better world than the world we lived in the past, in reality it's very, very, very wrong. The world that we had in the past was a much cleaner world. But, needless to say, the outcome is the outcome. You know, we have what we have. We have to make the best of what we have. So, the only thing that's going to make things better is by us doing tshuva. It's not necessarily going to bring back the world to how it was at the times of the Gemara or the times of Adam HaRishon, but at least if someone is connecting to Hashem and is making sure to do everything they possibly can to do the will of Hashem, Hashem protects him from such things. Or get things away. You know, he's not going to, if someone is conscious and they're careful in everything that they do, Hashem is not going to allow them to make sins that they're not conscious of. People that eat those things usually don't care anyway. They don't care anyway. So, the world as a whole is terrible. But it's not a lost cause. If it was a lost cause, Hashem would have simply destroyed it. So, why does Hashem keep the world running? He keeps the world running simply because He wants us to do tshuva. He wants us to get better. He wants us to influence our brothers and sisters to become better. He didn't give up on the world. He wants the murder to stop. He wants the stealing to stop. He wants the addictions to stop. He wants a better version of us. But at the same token, there is a clock. And the clock is ticking. And the clock is going to end when the Mashiach comes for the world at large, or when each one of our own clocks ends. Some people, the clock ends when they're 20. Some people's clock ends when they're 100. But at some point, everybody's going to have to face the charges. So if each person worries about their own tshuva first, and then the world around them, we have a chance to succeed as a people and as individuals. But if everybody just worries about everybody else except themselves, then we're not doing anything. You know, so is the world difficult? Yes, but nothing new under the sun. The world has always been difficult. If it wasn't the desire that we have today, it was a different desire. If you read some of the commentaries of what happened at the time of the Beit HaMikdash, it's like reading the news today. There was in the book of Isaiah, it says that the women walked around with extra high heels to get attention, and if it wasn't enough, they put bells on them. They put bells on the heels. And they took off the hats that covered their wigs, because anyone that would wear a wig had a hat covering it. That's the halakha. If you're going to wear a wig, you have to wear a hat on top of it. So anyone that wore a wig had a hat on top of it. And some of them wore wigs without the hat. They took off the hat. This is 3,000 years ago, by the way. It's not talking about right now. And they started getting the attention of who? The Romans. So they got rebuked. What are you doing? You're getting the attention of the Romans. So the women said, what's the worst that could happen? The Romans are going to marry us? So let the Romans marry us. Now who were these women that didn't care about intermarriage? That didn't care about the goyim looking at them? That didn't care about modesty? That didn't care about the Torah at all? Who were these women? What were they? Ignorant people? They were Amalek? Who are they? The wives of the rabbis at the time. The wives of the rabbis at the time. So, the reality is nothing new under the sun. Like Shlomo HaMelech says in Ecclesiastes, about 7 times. He says there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing new under the sun. Meaning, Rabotai Karim, that all of the people that think, oh no, it's more difficult now, but since we're a weaker generation, therefore Hashem is going to be more lenient. No, nothing changed. The desires we had yesterday, we have today. The flaws we had yesterday, we have today. The issues we had yesterday, we have today. The spiritual laziness we had yesterday, we have today. The punishment we had yesterday, we have today also. Nothing new under the sun. It's not any different today just because the year, according to the Christians, is 2018, or the Jewish calendar is 5778. None of that stuff matters. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. All that changed is that everyone has a phone in their hands. That's it. Other than that, nothing changed. The more you read the books, the more you realize it's exactly the same. Nothing changed. What? People were chasing money? They chased money back then. People were chasing sex? They chased sex back then. People were chasing kavod? They chased kavod back then also. Nothing changed. Corruption? Corruption was back then too. Nothing changed. Nothing changed. But the same solution we had back then, we have now. We have to do tshuva. Now, in Parashat Truma, we learn about the tabernacle. And something, a beautiful chidush I heard once from Av Nisim again. He says that when Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu to make this cover, to make this tabernacle, is the place you're going to have the Kodesh Kodashim, is where you're going to talk to me. It says in chapter 25, verse 22, ונודעתי לך שם ודיברתי איתך מעל הכפורת מבין שני הקרובים אשר על אהרון העדות את כל אשר אצווה אותך אל בני ישראל. So Hashem says to Moshe, this Aaron, this cover, this is where I will set my meetings with you. The Kodesh Kodashim had this cover, had this Aaron, had this kaporet, where I'm going to talk to you here, wherever it is. And it had 2 kruvim. Kruvim were like these angels that look like children that faced each other. I'm sure all of you have seen the pictures of it in the past. And they had wings. They look like little kids. And they faced each other. And it says that this cover, this whole gold piece, had to be from one piece, had to be hammered out. This whole cover had to be one single gold piece. Not little pieces put together. And its kruvim were made out of gold, and it was hammered out. It was one piece. And there was a separation between the two of a tefach. Tefach is small, tiny little. And Hashem says, there, that spot, that little separation, the tiny little area on top of the Aaron, that's where I will talk to you. That's where our meetings are going to be. My voice is going to come out of there. I'm going to speak to you from atop the cover, in between the 2 kruvim that are on top of the ark of the testimony. You have this ark, you have this kruvim, you have these 2 angels. This little separation, this tiny little area, that's where we're going to talk. That's our meeting. Meaning, the space is tiny. Tiny little space. The Sfarim HaKadoshim also says in the Gemara that according to measurements, you have measurements for everything, technically the Aron HaKodesh didn't take up any space. What does it mean it didn't take up any space? According to the measurements, there was no room for it. The measurements of how big the room was. You know where the table was. You know where the bread was. You know where the menorah was. You know where everything was. Then it says you had the ark over there. There's no room for it. Meaning, it actually, even though it was there, it took up no space, miraculously. Similar to how when we were in the Bet HaMikdash, one of the miracles was that no matter how many people were inside the Bet HaMikdash, we would all have the ability to pray and bow all the way down, and everyone would still have enough room separation between each other that no one would be able to hear each other's prayers. No matter how many people, 100,000, 100 million, a billion, doesn't make a difference. It occupied no space. Because time and space are things that Hashem controls, obviously. So now, the Gemara says that this specific area, this tiny little space on top of the Kuvim, is where Hashem wrote it over here. That's where he spoke to Moshe. Tiny little spot. But then if you fast forward to the time of Shlomo HaMelech, Shlomo HaMelech built Hashem Yitbarach a fancy Bet HaMikdash, something extraordinary. The beauty of the Bet HaMikdash, they say that if you didn't see Shlomo HaMelech's Bet HaMikdash, you never saw beauty in your life. Something out of this world. Unbelievable. The doors, the beauty. There was never any bad smell despite all the korbanot. There was never any flies. Something out of this world. But yet, it was huge. It wasn't tiny like this. But yet Hashem tells Shlomo, what are you building me this mikdash for? It's not big enough. It's not big enough. The heavens are my chair, and the land is like where I rest my feet. Wait a minute. Over here for 40 years with Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem says specifically, from between the two kruvim of the Ark of the Testimony, that's what I'm going to talk to you. Tiny little space, tefach. Tiny little, small. I'm going to talk to you. Never once did he complain to Moshe. Moshe, no, give me a bigger room. No, you have the whole desert. You have the whole desert. No, stop being so cheap. Give me a little room. No, he said, Dafka, Hashem said, all I want is this little spot, and this is where I'm going to talk to you. 40 years, no complaints. Not one time did he say it's too small. Not one time did he say perfectly happy with it. Shlomo HaMelech makes Hashem Yitbarach a huge Bet HaMikdash, Kodesh Kodashim, giant land, lots of holiness, lots of beauty. Rabbi Mizrahi one time did the math of how much money was spent just on to open it. The celebration, the grand opening of the Bet HaMikdash, $120 million. $120 million in korbanot. $120 million grand opening. We celebrate because we donated $5,000 to the Beit Knesset. $120 million just to open the Bet HaMikdash. Just to open it, imagine every day. But Hashem says, it's not big enough for me. The heavens is my chair. The land is where I rest my feet. What happened? So the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin says there was a guy very frustrated, ran in the middle of the streets, trying to teach people musar from his life. He says, when my wife and I were happy, we used to be able to sleep on the tip of a knife. Now that we're not happy, even a bed that's 50 yards long is not enough. So the Chachamim, he was screaming all over the place, trying to teach people life, the happiness. Chachamim say to him, hey, you're not teaching any chidushim. What you're saying is already written on Torah. So what do you mean, how? He says, look, when Moshe Rabbeinu built the tabernacle, Hashem says, I'm going to talk to you in a space that's the size of a hand. And he never complained for 40 years. Hashem never complained for 40 years. Shlomo HaMelech built him a huge Bet HaMikdash. Hashem says, it's not big enough for me. The whole heaven is not big enough. That's my chair, just the heavens. And the land is just for my feet. What's the obviously Hashem doesn't have form or likeness of him. This is figuratively speaking. So what we're learning here, when Hashem is happy with us, When Hashem is happy with us, He only needs a small little space in our life. He knows that we have a small little space. We make a permanent spot for Hashem. We have true love for Hashem. We have true connection to Hashem. He doesn't ask for too much. Why? We're galutim. We want him there. He wants to be there. We want him there. Finished. There's true love between us. We're not pretending to be religious. We're really religious. We're not pretending to do what he wants. We want to do what he wants. Therefore, it looks like it's small. What he really wants from us is small. It's not too much. What does he really want from us? But when there's no love, when it's not pure, when there's issues, all the space in the world is not going to be enough. When you and your wife are happy, it doesn't matter if you have money or not. It doesn't matter if you have kids or not. It doesn't matter if anything. Why? You're happy to be next to each other. You could sit next to her, she could sit next to you for 5 hours, say nothing, and still be happy as can be. When you're not happy, it doesn't matter how much money in the world you have, it doesn't matter how many kids you have, it doesn't matter what job you have, it doesn't matter anything. It's always going to be noticeable that you're next to each other. You're like, I can't wait till he leaves. I can't wait till she goes to sleep. Why? You're taking up my space. You're taking up my air. I breathe less when you're here. You can't wait till she leaves. You can't wait till he goes to sleep. He goes to work. Oh, you go to work. Go to work, honey. What? Shabbat. I can't work. Oh, no, maybe. Oh, there's no heter, no leniency. If you work on Shabbat, to go to Beknesset. I just came back from Beknesset. Ribono shel olam. Oh, okay. Go to sleep. Why does she want you out of the house? Why? Because you're Esav. She wants you out of the house because you're Esav. You're not acting like a human being. She doesn't want to be next to you. Rabotai Karim, what was the biggest musar we learned from this? When Hashem takes priority in our life, then in reality, we understand how much He's doing for us, and we realize that it's not only is He not obligating us to do anything, everything that He's giving us is good for us. It's not hard to be religious. It's not hard to come to shiur Torah. It's not hard to learn Torah. It's not hard to do what He wants. Why? We know it's all a cure for us. We have a deficiency. He's giving us constant cures. We have something wrong. He's providing the solution. So you don't feel like doing what He wants is difficult. Why? It's the cure. All you need, it's a small amount that doesn't occupy any space. But when you're doing it for the wrong reasons, or you don't even know what the reason is, it looks like everything is like too big. Going to shiur Torah is too much. Keeping Shabbat is too much. Having kids is too much. Making kosher money is too much. Everything is too much. Everything is too much. It's all a big burden. Oh, now I have to wear a dress that's this big. Oh, now I have to cover my hair with a scarf. Oh, now I have to only work 6 days a week. Oh, now I have to have kids. Oh, now I have to give tzedakah. Oh, everything is too big. Everything is too hard. Everything is so difficult. I can't believe it. Why? Why is it so difficult? Because you don't realize it's a cure. You think you have a better cure. Now this all stems from lack of appreciation. Lack of appreciation for what He's already given you. Now, no one needs to be embarrassed because I'll raise my hand too. Who here thinks generally that one of their good character traits, or in general, they believe that they are a grateful person? Like if somebody did good to you, for you, you know how to say thank you. You are grateful for them. Whatever they did for you, whether they gave you a pen, or they gave you a car, or they gave you $500, or anything. Who here thinks that generally one of they're overall a grateful person? If somebody did you a favor, you're not one of those people that forgot to do you a favor like they owe you something. You know how to say thank you. Who here thinks that they're grateful? Well, you're ungrateful? No. Well, all of you are kfuyei tova. All of you are ungrateful. That's all my... So let me ask you something. I learned this. This is a high level. You don't have to worry about if you don't pass, because in reality, if we all get to this, what I'm about to tell you, we don't need the shiur Torah anymore. We need something else. But this is just to understand of how far we are from reality. Now, if somebody gave you a pen, because you wanted to write a chidush, you wanted to write a new insight, you wanted to write a business plan, you wanted to write a chidush of the Torah, something, you wanted to write something important, obviously not writing the grocery list. Whatever, even if you wanted to write the grocery list, whatever, you needed a pen. Your guy next to you or the woman next to you had 1,000 of them sitting next to her in a nice bucket. She had 1,000 pens. So it's not like you took away from her writing ability. She didn't lose anything by giving it to you. She or he gave you a pen. You needed a pen. Can I borrow your pen for a few minutes? And they gave you a pen. Pen. Not saying $1 million. Now, when after you wrote what you wrote, what do you see that she gave? What did she give you? What did she give you? You guys half asleep? What'd she give you? What'd she give you? A pen. Now when you say thank you to her, when you feel gratitude in your heart, what are you grateful for? Okay, so you wrote down, okay, why? What'd she give you? A pen, right? So what are you grateful for? The pen that she gave you. What else are you grateful for? Generosity, she gave you the pen. But she had 1,000 of them. Okay, so she gave you a pen. And she's generous to give you a pen. Okay, guys, stop being full of it. In reality, if she didn't give you the pen, you'd ask the next guy for the pen. Let's start. Don't be over-righteous here. If she didn't give you the pen, you'd ask the next guy for a pen. You'd ask the guy from the store to give you a pen. What did she give you? A pen or she didn't give you a pen? She gave you a pen. When you say thank you, what are you saying thank you for? Okay, you're saying thank you for kindness of the pen. Tachlis, bottom line, you're saying thank you for what? For the pen. What else are you saying thank you for? In reality, not in your imagination of what you're pretending to be right now. I'm telling you in reality. Somebody gave you a pen. What are you saying thank you for?
Just the pen.
Just the pen. You think thank you for anything else? Later on, when you think about, you have the chidush that you wrote. You have the insight. When you wrote the insight, now you're going to publicize it to the world. Whatever insight you have, the business plan, the Sefer Torah, whatever you wrote, you publicize to the world. Are you going to think about her or him that gave you the pen? Is she a partner in what you wrote?
She is. She's part of the
Did you say thank you because she's a partner in what she wrote?
No.
That means you don't believe she's a partner then. So what are you saying thank you for? The pen. What effort? She had 1,000 pens. She can tell you take whatever you want. What effort? She had 1,000 pens next to her. You wrote.
But if somebody believes.
No, if. We're not figuratively speaking. We're talking about reality. What are we? We, us. Not the somebody that's tzaddik. Moshe Rabbeinu was somebody else. I'm talking about us right now. Somebody gave you a pen. She had a bucket of 1,000 pens in front of her. Meaning that when you took a pen out of her bucket, it did not cause her any losses. She said, can I have a pen? She said, yes, please have a pen. Do me a favor and have the pen. You took the pen. You wrote whatever you wrote. It could be a Torah insight. It could be your shopping list. It could be a business plan, whatever it is. Later on, you gave her the pen back. Thank you very much. I wrote what I wrote. You used, I don't know, a tenth of an ounce of ink. She's not suffering because of lack of ink. The pen went back into the bucket. Now she has a complete bucket. She had 1,000. Then it was $9.99. Now it's back to 1,000 minus a tenth of an ounce of ink. She didn't lose much. You went on your way. You showed the world, hey, guys, I wrote this chidush, and this is the chidush that I have. I wrote this business plan, and this is the business plan that I have. I wrote the shopping list, and this is the shopping list that I have. When you tell the world about this list that you have, or this plan that you have, or this chidush that you have, are you also going to tell them, oh, and by the way, this plan was all thanks to the pen that the lady with 1,000 pens gave me? Chazaku Baruch. Okay, there's one honest person in this entire place. He said the truth. He said the real truth of what we are. He does. You don't even remember, meaning myself too. I don't even remember that she even existed. Forget that she gave me the pen. We don't even remember that she existed, that she even gave us the pen. Why? She had 1,000 pens. What is she? What's the big deal? Are you Hashem? I'm not either. We're talking about us, guys. We're not talking about trying to be Moshe Rabbeinu. We're trying to talk about reality of us. How do we fix us? Fixing Hashem, we don't have to fix. Okay. Hold on, guys. I'll finish the point. Don't kill my thunder here. Let me understand here. Understand the reality. The reality is that we're all kfuyei tova. We're all ungrateful. Why? The fact that she gave us the pen, we think she gave us a pen. She didn't lack anything. She had 1,000 of them. So it's not like she needed the pen and she stopped her life for the pen. And we wrote whatever we wrote. We're thinking, at best case scenario, at best, if you're tzaddik, you're going to tell people, by the way, whatever I wrote, I got a pen from her. That's someone that's righteous. That's Avraham Avinu. You're going to say, by the way, guys, this whole lecture, 2.5 hours of talking, I wrote everything I wrote, somebody gave me the pen. Best case scenario. Best case scenario, I told you somebody gave me the pen. In reality, I'm not telling you anything. In reality, I wrote, no, I forgot myself that somebody gave me the pen. In reality. But what's the real reality? What's the cheshbonot of Shamayim? Cheshbonot of Shamayim, the math of Hashem, is that this person that gave you the pen is 100% a partner in every single outcome that comes out of that ink of the pen that she didn't get to give you. Meaning, not just what you wrote, but what happened from what you wrote. You wrote a chidush. You now wrote on little post-its. And now you're going to tell people, hey, by the way, Rabotai Yekarim, you have to do tshuva. Because I have the chidush, Moshe Rabbeinu spoke to Hashem in a thing where it was a tefach, a small little space. And then all of you guys say, wow, I have to do tshuva now. Why? Because Hashem, everything adds up in your head. You do tshuva. What happens? Your life changes. Now you go home. You talk to your husband. Hey, wife, you have to do tshuva. He does tshuva also. Hey, husband, wife, you have to tell the kids. They do tshuva. Each one of them does a mitzvah. When? Every day now. Why? Because they do tshuva. Every day they do tshuva. Every day do mitzvot. He wakes up. The husband all of a sudden puts tefillin on in the morning. Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam. Ledech tefillin. Puts tefillin. Mitzvah. Then he does Shema Yisrael. Another mitzvah. Then he does Amidah. Another few mitzvot. Then he goes to eat something, another mitzvah. Before he eat apple, borech be'aretz, another mitzvah. Then he goes to the bathroom, another mitzvah. And what do the kids do? The kids are like little ducks. They follow the father. Oh, he does mitzvot. We're going to do mitzvot. Why? Mitzvot are fun. So he does tefillin. We're going to do tefillin. He does Netilat Yadayim. We're going to do Netilat Yadayim. He does Amidah. We're going to do Amidah. Now the wife's going to do Kisur Rosh. Why? Because the husband's laying tefillin. How's she not going to cover her head if he's doing tefillin? So these are the mitzvot. Now, how could I wear logically Kisur Rosh with a miniskirt? Can't wear a miniskirt if you think with your brain. If you think with something else, then if your Kisur Rosh is only a style, you're going to wear a miniskirt. Like some people wear Kisur Rosh only because they like the fashion. They like the way it looks. If you're wearing Kisur Rosh because you like the way it looks, then it's not a mitzvah. It's just a fashion statement. If you wear Kisur Rosh because God told you to, then it's a mitzvah. So now she's wearing a Kisur Rosh with the scarf. And as she changes her clothes, and every time she puts on modest clothes, it's a mitzvah. And now they're going to eat kosher food, it's a mitzvah. And now they're going to say divrei Torah, mitzvot. And now the kids are going to grow up and make more mitzvot. And more mitzvot. And then they're going to have kids. And they're going to get married. And they're going to have married and then kids. And then their kids are going to do mitzvot. And who's the partner in all this?
The lady with the pen.
The woman with the pen. Are you sleeping? The woman with the pen. The woman with the pen. What Hashem? What? The woman with the pen.
What about the company that made the pen?
The company that made the pen in Hashem's cheshbonot, probably them too. The woman with the pen, Rabotei Yekarim, the woman with the pen is 100% a partner in every single thing you did. You forgot she even exists. Give me the pen, what's the big deal? What I use, a little ounce, half a tenth of an ounce of ink? This is critical when you tell people, do Cube, give people CDs, sponsor 1,000 CDs, get people, even if 990 of them get thrown in the garbage, 10 people actually listen to them, 1 out of those 10 does tshuva, you want olam haba. You want 310 olam habas. People think it's a joke. They don't realize cheshbonot of shamayim. They don't understand what it means. Somebody with a pen, by accident gave you a pen, you ended up writing a chidush. They got themselves olam haba for what? For giving you a pen. What's the source? This all sounds nice. Sounds nice, right? What's the source? Now, let's understand why this is good and also dangerous at the same time. First, we'll start with the good. When you understand the value of things, when you understand the value of everything, you understand that there's even a pen can carry an eternal value. You start being more careful of who you ask for what. Little by little, you start realizing you could only ask one source. Who? Hashem. You don't ask people for anything anymore. Hashem, I need to get money. Send money. Hashem, I need a car. Send car. Hashem, I need a parking spot. Send parking spot. Why? First of all, you realize He's the only one that can really provide all this stuff. He may send you a person. He may send you the money through a person. He may send you the car through a person. He may send you the house through a person. But you didn't ask the person. You asked Hashem. You ask Hashem for everything. Why? Number one, you realize He's the only source that can provide everything. That's number one. But it's logical. You didn't need a shiur for that. What's the second reason? You realize that if you ask a person, you're not going to appreciate enough. If you ask a person for anything, you, by default, are not going to appreciate it enough. Why? Because you don't look at things that way. You look at it as just a pen. You don't look at the outcome of the ink, of what happened with the pen, and what happened with the speech, and what happened with the meeting, and what happened with the kids, and the kids' kids, and the grandkids, and all the... You don't look at all of that. Why? You're just trying to do tshuva right now, trying to survive, trying to get Gan Eden. You're not thinking about what happened to all the things yet. After the shiur, B'ezrat Hashem, you will. But you're simply thinking, He gave me a pen, which means you're not going to appreciate what anybody gives you enough. You're not going to appreciate anything. By default, you're not going to appreciate it enough. You're going to think, oh, you just give me a phone. Can I make a phone call from your phone? Yeah, sure. How many people ask you for every time you're in the street, somebody, oh, can I make a phone call from your phone? Okay. Oh, thanks. You make a phone call, give it back, finished. What's the big deal? You gave me a phone. Can you text my mom for da-da-da? Yeah, sure. What's the big deal? I text. It didn't cost them anything. It's unlimited. Oh, can you send an email to this one for me? Can you give me a ride? Can you spot me $5 and I'll give it back to you later on? We just think it's just $5 or it's just an email or it's just a text. Because that's the way we look at things when it's purely based on desire. I had a desire. You satisfy my desire. As soon as you satisfy my desire, I forgot about my desire. I was hungry. You fed me. As soon as you fed me, I'm no longer hungry. So I'm not thinking about how I felt before I was hungry. I'm thinking I'm just not hungry. That's it. It's finished. I'm no longer thinking about, oh, I'm not hungry because I was hungry, but you're the one that gave me the food. Because naturally, without deep musar, I'm only going to think things based on desire. As soon as the desire is satisfied, It's as if it never happened. Which means, if we ask things from people, the first fear we need to have, why didn't we ask for Hashem, from Hashem? Because He's really the only source. Second fear, now that we know, we're not going to appreciate it enough. What's the third fear? The third fear, Rabotai Karim, is the worst one. The third fear is you do know. You do know the magnitude of the ice cream that He gave you, or the pen that He gave you, or the folder, or the whatever He gave you. You do know the value of it. But now you realize I can never pay Him back. Why? Let's say He gave me a pen. Gave me a pen. I wrote a chidush. Later on in the week, I noticed he needed a pen. I gave him 10 pens. And he also wrote a chidush. In fact, he wrote 10 chidushim. I wrote one insight, I wrote one business plan, or one dvar Torah, or whatever I wrote. And he wrote 10. That doesn't mean I paid him back. Why? My one had much more impact in the world than his did. He gave me a pen. The ink from his pen had a magnitude that affected 1 million people. My 10 pens only affected 10 people. I'm still in debt. Why? Look at how much his pen did. Meaning, Rabotai Karim, when you know the value of it, you're always going to feel, I can never pay him back. If you understand it, you start becoming grateful. Why? Every single time somebody does anything for you, you're like, you know what? You're such an amazing person. Thank you so much. Wow, I just gave you a ride. Big deal. I was going there anyway. No, you don't understand. If you didn't give me a ride, I would have never got there. What do you mean? You had $5. You probably paid Uber to give you. Maybe they wouldn't have picked up. The point is, I got here now because of you. The point here, I wrote this because of you. The point, I ate this because of you. Had it not been you, it maybe would have never happened. To such an extent that the Gemara says, the Chafetz Chaim says, when someone goes and buys groceries in a store, he should say thank you with a full heart to the person that's the cash register. Why? He's doing him chesed. The cash register is doing you ultra kindness. Why ultra kindness? If he didn't take your money and give you a receipt, you would never have food. What do you mean? I would just use somebody else. Who says? Who says you would have gone to someone else? Who says you would have gone to another store? Meaning the cash register is responsible for you eating. That's machshavat Hashem. That's cheshmonot of shamayim, Rabotai. This is how far we are from the truth. It's deep. If you understand what I'm saying to you, it's deep. So now, on one end, we realize that all we really want is to ask Hashem for. But then we have to be grateful for Hashem. Second thing is, we know that if we ask from anything from anyone else, we're not going to be grateful anyway. Which also means we need to be grateful to Hashem. Third thing is, even if we were grateful, we know that we can never pay them back. Why? Because the magnitude of what they did for us, we can never pay back. Even if he gave me a sandwich and I gave him a sandwich in return, the effect the sandwich had on me is very different than it had on him. It could very well be that it had a much better impact on me. Now, what's the danger in all of this? Someone that doesn't learn the first 100 Musar lessons and just starts over here, all of a sudden, they're going to say, hey, you know what kind of pen I'm giving you right now? I'm changing your life right now with the pen. I'm changing your life with this pen. Don't just say thank you. You owe me your life for this pen. All of a sudden, they're going to think everything they do is the most valuable thing in the world. Everybody owes them and they don't owe anybody else anything. So the Gemara says, what's a good guest and what's a bad guest? What's a good guest and what's a bad guest? A good guest, you host them for food, and he says, look at all the amazing food they made in my honor. What a good host. They made in my honor. Look at all this food. It's all tasty. It's all delicious. It's all good. Wow. They made all this food in my honor. That's a good guest. What's a bad guest? What's a bad guest say? A bad guest, Rabotai, says, he was eating anyway. It's a big deal. So I sat next to him. He was eating anyway. The food was going to go bad if he didn't give it to me. I was doing him a favor that I came over to eat because he made too much food. He made too much food anyway. So I did him a favor by eating it. That's a bad guest. What's a bad guest? And what's a good guest? A good guest, you give him a watermelon. He says, wow, look, he bought a watermelon just for me. He bought a watermelon just in my honor. Shabbat Shimon, what a nice guy this is. He bought I didn't think about buying him a watermelon, but he bought a watermelon just for me. What's a bad guest say? Look how cheap this guy is. He knows he has to give me food, drink, and some snacks, so he tried saving money. He bought the watermelon. The watermelon I can eat, the watermelon can be juice, and the watermelon seeds we can eat after as a snack. Look how cheap this guy is. That's a bad guest. That's a bad guest. That's the Gemara says. A wicked person, you know, when you have goggles, you have the small ones are here, and the big ones are far from you. So the small ones make you see things that are far, near. If you turn it around, and you look through the big ones, then whatever is near looks far. Because that's a wicked person and a righteous person. A righteous person sees his things, it's far away. Whatever he did, it doesn't have so much significance. I did him a favor, but who knows how much I really owe him? What do you mean? Just met the guy. Who knows? Maybe he did something for me before I even met him, before I even recognized him. A righteous person sees everything that everybody else does for them. Wow, that's a big deal. Thank you very much for giving me a ride. Thank you very much for $5. Thank you very much for calling me. Thank you very much for visiting me. Thank you everything is a big deal. That's a righteous person. A wicked person, everything they do is the biggest deal in the world. But everything that everybody else does, he was doing it anyway. I was doing him a favor. I kept him company. Why? He was going to eat anyway. I kept him company. What's the big deal? Everything they do is a big deal. Everything everybody else does, so what? You know a few people like this? Few. What's the source, Rabbotai? We have to have a source. Now we said, what I just said right now is Gemara Masechet Brachot, page 58a. We said all these things from Chafetz Chaim. But what's the original source, even before this? The Gemara in Masechet Sotah, page 56b, says there was a city named Luz. And this city had a special merit. Malach HaMavet was not allowed to enter. Meaning, whoever lived in that city can never die. No Malach HaMavet, no death. Whenever someone got sick of life, they didn't want to live anymore. They lived already 500 years, 1,000 years. They got sick of life. Said, they left the city. They would go to the border. It's like committing suicide. As soon as they left the border, they would die. Other than that, no one ever died. There's a story of Shlomo HaMelech found out that two of his dear servants were going to die. He heard the Malach HaMavet was going to kill two of his servants. What could I do? What could I do to save them from Malach HaMavet? He said, Shlomo HaMelech, what do you think? Smartest man of all time. What do you think? Let's send him to Luz. No one ever dies in Luz. If I can get to Luz before tomorrow, Malach HaMavet can't touch them. So immediately got everybody together. Get these two guys. Go. Get him over there. Get him to Luz. And he thought he just did the best thing in the world. He just fooled the Malach HaMavet. And then he sees the Malach HaMavet show up and he's laughing and so happy. Shlomo Melech sees Malach HaMavet, he's not scared. Us, we just say Malach HaMavet, we're always scared. Shlomo Melech says, why are you so happy? Because, oh, you know, what an amazing day I'm having. What do you mean you're having an amazing day? Because, oh, you wouldn't believe it. I was so upset earlier today, but right now I'm having an amazing day. Because why were you upset? Because, you know, I had a decree from Shamayim to kill two of your buddies. Two of your servants. I had to kill them. I was so upset. Well, so why are you happy now? Why are you happy? Because I just killed them. Because what do you mean? Whoa, hold on a second. What do you mean? Because no, I was upset because the decree in Shamayim was that I could only kill them if they got to the border of Luz. And I said to myself, how could I convince you to send them to Luz? But you did it for me. You sent them to Luz. So I was able to take the neshamot. No getting away from the Malach HaMavet, Rabotai. No getting away. Now the city of Luz, how did it get this merit? How did it get this merit? That no one ever dies. It's a real city. How do we get this merit? How? When Yeshua ben Nun, Gdol Ador after Moshe Rabbeinu, took control, he sent some meraglim, some spies, to go spy out the land. Before they went into Eretz Yisrael, he went to send some people, go check out the land to see who's there. We're going to have to war, we have to fight, we have to go check out some things. And they got to a certain place, they got to Luz. And they asked the guy over there, which way to Canaan, which way to Eretz Yisrael. And the Gemara in Masechet Sotah says, the guy says, with his head. And some say he just pointed. He just pointed. Others say he just nodded with his head, like that direction. That direction, that's it. And that direction was right, and they got to Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara says, for that, the city of Luz got benefit. What benefit? No one ever died. Why? Why so much? All he did was like this. Maybe he had a twitch. All he did was point. Well, big deal. He pointed. He didn't say go over there. He just pointed or nodded his head. What's the big deal? This, Rabotai Yekarim, is the source of cheshbonot for Shamayim. Hashem did not calculate like we calculate. He just gave him a pen. He just pointed. He didn't calculate it that way. He doesn't calculate it that way. What is Hashem's cheshbon? How does he calculate? He said, look at what this guy did. He nodded his head. They got to Eretz Yisrael. When they got to Eretz Yisrael, what they do? They did Brit Milah. Every Brit Milah goes to his cheshbon. After the Brit Milah, they start laying tefillin. Everybody did tefillin. Goes to his cheshbon. Did tefillin. Bet HaMikdash. Goes to his cheshbon. Mitzvot. Goes to his cheshbon. Am Yisrael's over there. Goes to everything. Kosher food. Everything goes to his cheshbon. How could I pay him? No one can ever die. That's how much Hashem wants to reward us. For the smallest things that you think are insignificant, Hashem wants to give you not just the reward for what you did, but also the outcome of what you did. But just like it is that way, it's also the opposite. And that's the scary part. That is the scary part. It says, Kol HaKofer b'chavero sofo likfor b'makom. The Midrash Tanchuma in Parashat Shmot says that a person that gets used to not being grateful from his friends. His friend lent him a few dollars. He's like, he's rich, big deal. He's rich, he's got $10 million, he lent me $500, big deal. His friend gave him a car. He was going that direction anyway. We work in the same place. His friend called him to say hello, how you doing? Just to check on him. So what? So he had nothing to do, he called me. His wife cooked him breakfast. She had to eat also. What's the big deal? She had to eat. She made me an extra egg. She says, no, I bought the egg anyway. Big deal. To such an extent, Rabotai Yekarim, his wife was intimate with him. and he enjoyed it. What enjoyed it? An animal enjoys it. He enjoyed it. Even for that, he forgot to say thank you. What do you mean? An animal, a horse, is with his mate, he enjoys it. What? It's a physical thing. It's a physical thing. Big deal. What? You enjoyed it? You didn't say thank you? You're no different than the horse. You enjoyed it? You didn't say thank you? Why, you think it's given? She owes it to you? You're no different than a horse. And kol hakofer b'chavero sofo kofer b'makom. Anyone that becomes used to, is acclimated, it's part of him to just, everybody owes me something. The whole world owes you. The whole world is, everything is mine, everything is mine. He says he forgets to say thank you, small thank you. Thank you for breakfast. Thank you for $5. Thank you for the sandwich. Thank you for taking my money so I could take the groceries. Simple thank yous. We're not talking about big thank you, he just gave you a house. Simple thank you. Thank you for sitting next to me so we can learn Torah together. Thank you for the shiur Torah. Thank you for allowing me to donate. Thank you for donating. Thank you for selling me the shirt. Thank you for folding the shirt. Thank you for laundering the shirt. Simple thank yous. Anyone that forgets these tiny little thank yous, in the end he's going to forget to say thank you to Hashem Yitbarach. For what? For everything. The small thank yous, big thank yous, why? You need help with the big thank yous? The guy just gave you a house for free. You're not going to say thank you? The donkey is going to start talking and say thank you. V'yiftach Hashem et pi ha'aton. The donkey said, thank you gave me a house. Donald Trump, you gave me a house. The guy with the story, everybody knows the story. Donald Trump gave some guy a house or something like that. Why, you think he didn't say thank you? Of course he said thank you. A donkey would say thank you. We're not talking about the big thank yous. We're not talking about saying thank you to your boss that gave you a raise of 70%. That's the easy part. The donkey would say it. We're talking about saying thank you for breakfast. Thank you for saying hello. Thank you for checking on me. Thank you for being with me. Someone that forgets these tiny little thank yous is a kofer b'chavero, is ungrateful to his friend. In the end, kofer b'makom. He's ungrateful to the makom. What's makom? The omnipresent. Hashem Yitbarach. He's ungrateful for everything. Paro, Imach Shimo, forgot to say thank you. To who? Yosef HaTzadik. And Paro came to leadership and forgot who Yosef is. What do you mean forgot? He built the country. He forgot to say thank you. He forgot to say thank you to Yosef when Moshe Rabbeinu came to him and he said, Hashem told us to, God told us to go serve him. He goes, who's God? Who's God? What do you mean, who's God? You don't know who's God? What do you think, he came here by yourself? It started with, he didn't say thank you to Yosef. He didn't say thank you to Yosef after he put him on the map, after he gave him all the money. He forgot who God was. This is also the reason why the Torah says when someone is a ben sorer umoreh, and there's a wayward son that doesn't listen to his parents, they kill him. Why they kill him? If he's already ungrateful to his parents as a child, it's only a matter of time before he's ungrateful to Hashem. Better to kill him now before he makes bigger sins. Hillel HaZaken, in the Gemara, Masechet Shabbat, page 31a, somebody came to him and said, teach me the entire Torah. A guy wanted to convert. Teach me the entire Torah on one leg, on one foot. And Hillel Zaken tells him, don't do to others what you hate being done to yourself. Seems pretty simple. If you hate it, don't do it to other people. Simple enough. He's not even telling him the big law that Rabbi Akiva said, love your brother as you love yourself. Don't even love him. Just don't do what he hates. Just don't do what he hates. He says, Zeh Torah kula, that's the entire Torah. Just don't do what other people hate. Why is that the entire Torah? How is that the entire Torah? You have mitzvot, you have Shabbat, you have kosher, you have everything. How is that the entire Torah? How? How is just not doing what other people hate the entire Torah? How is it, Rabotai? First rule, realize you're not alone. First rule, empathy. Start thinking about the world around you. You're not alone. Of course, realize that you wouldn't be here if your wife wasn't as good to you as she is. Realize you wouldn't be here if your husband wasn't good to you as he is. Realize you wouldn't be here if your parents weren't as good to you as they are. Realize you wouldn't be here if your kids weren't as good. Realize that there's people around you. You have workers, employees, bosses, vendors, partners. You're not alone. Even the teller at the cash register, you're not alone. Empathy. Start realizing there's a world around you. There's a world around you. If you realize, you just realize for a second, there's a world around me, then I start thinking about the world around me. Oh, when I'm extra noisy, that probably annoys other people. So I should probably not be noisy. Why are people noisy? Because they think they're alone. They don't think about anybody around them. There was one student that woke up in the morning thinking he's going to do a mitzvah. He woke up extra early at 3 o'clock in the morning to go learn Torah. Rabbi Yisrael Misalant was known to not sleep very much, was already up, and he saw the student doing the whole thing. And he's stepping over his friends, and he's washing his hands, and he's thinking he's going to go, I'm going to be Torah. He's going to do a lot of good things. After he walks out of the room, Rabbi Yisrael Misalant says to him, why are you a thief? Why are you starting your day with stealing? What? Stealing? What did I steal? I'm going to learn Torah. You're a thief. Why are you stealing? What did I steal? Why are you stealing everybody else's sleep? Why are you making so much noise? Just because you want to go learn Torah doesn't mean they have to suffer. You're making all this noise. It's better you don't learn this extra Torah and then wake them up and steal sleep from them. People think that they're alone in the world. They're alone in the world. They think that I'm going to do whatever I want and everybody else has to like it also. They forget there's a world around them. Not everybody likes the smell of your food. Some people bring their food from their culture to the office. And yes, it may taste delicious to you, and it may smell delicious to you, but the entire office is suffering. Why? Maybe they don't like curry. Maybe they don't like chulent. Maybe they don't like whatever smell you came from your country. They don't like it. Why do they have to suffer? Because you want to eat. You want to eat sardines on your office desk. The whole 500 people have to suffer because you want to eat sardines. You think you're a dolphin. Why does everybody have to suffer because you're a dolphin? Why? Why? Why don't you care? Because you're selfish. Because we're selfish. We think, no, why wouldn't they like it? You should be asking, why would they like it? Just because you want to eat something doesn't mean everybody else has to suffer. Or people, no, they like to put, some people, they want to put 5 pounds of perfume on. They don't want to just smell good. They want everybody else to know it, including the people that pass by on traffic. Including the people on the highway. They want to make sure that everybody knows that they have a Dolce Gabbana on. The guy on the highway is driving 90 miles an hour. He goes, what's that smell? Oh, it's the car next over. We just passed it. He has 5 pounds of perfume on. Maybe they don't like it. Maybe they don't like your perfume. Maybe it's disgusting to them. Why does everybody have to smell you? No, why it smells good. To you it smells good. Yeah, my wife likes it. To her too. So what? Doesn't mean the rest of the world too. Doesn't mean the rest of the world is also going to like the smell. You have to understand there's a world around you. Before you do anything, realize not what do I want. How is it going to affect the people around me? You may want to speak really loud on the phone. You may like to speak really loud on the phone because you're a loud person like I am. A loud person. But doesn't mean that everybody else wants to listen to your conversation. People love to talk about their stuff on the phone extra loud. Yeah, I just bought it. Yeah, the 50,000. Yeah. By the way, there's the operator on AT&T's on the other line says, sure, you didn't pay your bill. But in reality, they say, yeah, I bought it, 50,000. Yeah, 5,000. Yeah. They talk big. They want everybody to know they have money. In reality, they have $5 in their pocket. Yeah, I just bought 50,000 shares. Yeah, for sure. What? You want 100,000? Okay, sure. Sir, what are you talking about? You just have to pay your AT&T bill. But in reality, what? The guy, even if he has the 50,000, who cares about it? Maybe the guy that's listening to it can't pay his mortgage. Maybe the guy is listening to you, he's listening, you just bought 50,000 shares of some stupid company for $1 million. And the guy miskin, he doesn't have food to feed his kids. And he doesn't have the audacity to go ask you for a loan. He doesn't know you. And he's eating his heart. He's thinking about committing suicide. And you're talking about, I just bought $500,000 worth of stuff. Oh, yeah, that car, yeah, I'm going to get it tomorrow. Why does he have to learn it? Why do you have to tell him? Why is it his business? Why is it the world's business what you do? Why does everybody else have to listen to your phone conversation? People talk so loud on the phone, on the bus, on the train, in the offices. They tell everybody their business. Yeah, I broke up with her. Yeah, she's terrible. She's this. Why you say Lashon Hara in public, miskena? Maybe the other guy was considering marrying her now. And now he's not. She's been the love of his life. He couldn't wait for you to break up with her. Now you broke up with her, but you're telling everybody else she's this and she's that and she's this and she's that. And this guy say, oh, if she's all that, I don't want to marry this girl. You just destroyed thousands of neshamot. Thousands, not one. Thousands of neshamot you destroyed. Why? He was going to marry her. They were going to have kids. The kids were going to have kids. The kids were going to have kids. The kids were going to have kids. Thousands of neshamot. Remember, just like the pen. Just like the pen. It's not just what you wrote with the pen. It's what's the outcome of the pen. So your loud mouth that you broke up with the shidduch, you thought you do, oh yeah, she's not good enough. No. She wants somebody that's lower level. No, it's not good enough for me. It's not good enough for me. You think you're tzaddik. You're good. She's not good enough for you. The other guy was like, I couldn't wait for this guy to break up the shidduch. But now he's hearing all this lashon hara from you. He's like, no, I got to find somebody else. She's a troll. She's a this, she's a that. He doesn't want to be with her anymore. Why? Because if she's half as bad as what he's saying, if she's half as bad as what she's saying, is Amalek. What is this? Is she even Jewish, Bechla, this lady? Why? Why so loud? Why so loud? Sometimes people think that they're in the world alone. They think, oh, listen, I'm going to do what I want, and everybody else has to just simply mind their own business. Mind their own business. Rabotai Karim, even doing something as simple as being on the phone in the middle of a conversation. In the middle of a conversation, there's a conversation. People have a conversation. You have a meeting. You have an office meeting. You have an office meeting, and you're on the phone. You're looking on the phone. What's the big deal? I'm on the phone. The boss is not saying anything. The boss is not saying anything. If the boss is not saying anything, what do they care? It's not their business. I'm on the phone. What's the big deal? Automatically, every single person that sees you says, oh, if he's on the phone, that means that whatever the boss is saying is not important. Even if what you're doing on the phone is actually helping the boss, no one knows it. No one knows that what you're doing is helping the boss. No one knows that you're the secretary of the boss. No one knows anything. Oh, it just looks like you care less about what he's talking about. And if you care less about what he's talking about, why should I care? Maybe I should play with the phone too. Maybe I should play with the phone too. It's no different with shiur Torah. People think, no, hold on a second, Kodarab. I'll be right back. They go walk away, make a phone call. I'm going to make a phone call. 1 second, make a phone call. Why? The phone call is more important than shiur Torah? Oh, if the phone call is more important than shiur Torah, next time I'll just watch it on YouTube. People do not understand there's a world around them. Your actions affect the world around you. You're thinking, well, let them mind their own business. If they want to be on the phone, let them be on the phone too. What do I care? What do you care? That's what you're getting paid for, to care. You get paid to care. That's the point. If you don't care, you're no different than a horse. A horse also doesn't care. You're going to come back as a you as a horse. Because he doesn't care also. So Hillel told the potential convert, you want the entire Torah? Start caring about the world around you. Start caring about the world around you. Now, Rav Chaim Kachlon, or Ephraim's father, he had a well-known miracle, 2 miracles, over 30 years ago. He had a car accident where the car rolled over like 8 or 9 times in the air. And he walked out of the car untouched. And people came to the car and they kept looking into the car, thinking he's also looking. Like, where's the guy? He died, he got crushed, he's dead. He goes, it's me. He goes, what do you mean it's you? The guy's dead, there's no way. He goes, no, it's me. Us, unbelievable. He tells the story of this miracle, happened over 30 years ago. And ever since then, every year he has a party where he finishes a masechet, an anniversary of this miracle. Every year, for over 30 years, he has this celebration. Now, one of the biggest motivations for me to start speaking in the beginning, and even till this day, has been him. He's always motivated. Oh, you should speak. Before I ever thought of even studying Bechlal, he told me I should speak. So, but next to every great man, there must be a great woman. You cannot be great by yourself. Ezer kenegdo. So, Rabbanit Shulamit, someone asked one time, he's like, oh, well, you have this big party every year? I mean, it's a big party every year. It's not like they have a lot of money. He's an avrech also. Party every year, maybe. And she says, Chas v'shalom that we don't have this party and instead have an annual yard site. Chas v'shalom that we don't have the party to celebrate the miracle that Hashem saved his life and instead have a yard site instead. People have yard sites all the time. People die and you remember them every year. They do aliyot, they sell things in a big knesset for them, they have dinners, they have lunches, they have sudot, all these things. Oh, in memory of the so-and-so that died last year, so-and-so that died 2 years ago, so-and-so that died 50 years ago. And people have this for their parents, for their brothers, for their sisters, and so on and so forth. And it happens. It's part of life. The shiur Baruch Hashem started as a yard site. But Rabotai Karim, just like we're supposed to do the yard sites in memory and to elevate the souls that left us, what about the miracles of why the fact that we're here? The miracles of what's happening to you now. How many times did Hashem save your life? How many times did Hashem give you another gift? How many times did Hashem give you this and give you that? When are you celebrating that? Or you just said thank you one time and you finished? You said, thanks Hashem, appreciate it. And sometimes that we forgot. He was doing it anyway. He was running the world anyway. So what? He was running the world anyway. Remember, kol hakofer b'chavero kofer b'makom. We forgot. Well, how do we get to such a horrible, ungrateful level? That we forgot to say thank you to Hashem for giving us a kid. We forgot to say thank you to Hashem for giving us a wife or a husband. We forgot to say thank you to Hashem to give us life. To save our life, time and time again. How many times did you almost hit somebody or somebody almost hit you? How many times did you almost eat something you weren't supposed to? How many times did you almost fall? How many times did you almost die? How many times almost? A lot of times. Most people, a lot of times. How many times did you say thank you? How many times did you say thank you? Yahrzeit we remember. Somebody died, we remember. Why don't we remember life? Because we forgot to say thank you to one of our friends. We forgot to say thank you to our husband, to our wife, to our kids. We forgot to say thank you to people. We forgot to say thank you to people. We forgot to say thank you to Hashem. You want the entire Torah? Start saying thank you. So it says something extraordinary. Unbelievable. This is as blunt as can be. Rabbi Ephraim says, a man is an animal, has animal instincts. When he is with a woman, doesn't matter she's big, small, this, that, in essence, he's going to enjoy it regardless. There's a pleasure that happens. If a man, chas v'shalom, goes to a prostitute, at the end, what is he going to do? He's going to pay her and say thank you. For what? For giving him pleasure for 5 seconds or whatever it was. The prostitute, that's what he said thank you to someone that made him sin, but nonetheless he enjoyed it. He's going to say thank you for that. But his wife that brought kids to the world, his wife that tolerates him every day, his wife that cooks and cleans and deals with his craziness every single day, he's not even willing to make her an omelet. His wife asks him, give me a ride to the store, please. I'm busy, I'm tired. His wife, he forgets thank you. The prostitute, he says thank you. But his wife, oh no, I'm too busy, I'm too this, I'm too stressed, I'm too tired, I'm too this, I'm too that. Same applies to the women too, by the way. We think the world owes us something. To strangers, we'll say thank you in a second. Yeah, thank you. For what? Thank you, you gave me a sandwich. The guy sold you a sandwich. He sold you a sandwich in the corner. You say thank you to him. But the wife that made you the sandwich, no. You say thank you to the person that sold you shoes. But the husband that gave you money for the shoes, no, you didn't say thank you. Why? Yeah, he made money anyway. He owes me. Didn't he write it on the ketubah that he's going to give me money? We forget to say thank you, Rabotai. Simple thank you. Simple thank you. And the chidush to finalize it all is this. Hillel HaZaken said, you want the entire Torah? Start empathizing. Start realizing that everyone is around you. There's a world around you. When you play with your phone in the middle of a shiur Torah, people around you are noticing. When you are cheap, people are noticing. When you are looking in a different direction instead of your wife, people are noticing. When you don't take things seriously at work, people are noticing. Your behavior affects the world, a reality. There's an outcome. You didn't take it seriously, therefore he didn't take it seriously. When he didn't take it seriously, he decided, you know what, I got to make quick money instead. So if this job is not serious, I got to do something else. He decides that he's going to go rob a bank. So he starts murdering and killing people. Why? Because he needed to make money. And even though he could have made money at the company, he thought that because you weren't paying attention, it's not a serious place to make money, so he decided to become a murderer instead. Whose cheshbon do you think that goes on to? Just his? No, Rabotai. Also goes on yours. Why? You didn't take it seriously. Just like the good, also the bad. Just like the good, also the bad. Just like Hashem wants to give you the credit of Olam Haba for lending somebody a pen, you're also going to give you judgment for not. The Omek Adin is the depth of the judgment is significant. He wants to give you good like you wouldn't believe how much good he wants to give you. But he wants you to fulfill the entire Torah, which means empathize. Look, there's a world around you. So now the Chidush Rabotai Karim is this. The Rambam, as we said in the beginning, said that before Mashiach comes, there's going to be 15 days of darkness. Hashem Yirachem. 15 days of darkness, and only those that are glued to Hashem are going to survive. Now, after the Mashiach is here, after Gog and Magog, after all the craziness, Hashem promises He's going to slaughter the Yetzer Hara. He's going to slaughter the Satan. He's going to slaughter the Malach HaMavet. What does this mean? What does it mean to have a world without Yetzer Hara? What does it mean to have a world without Malach HaMavet? What does it mean to have a world without the Satan? What, we just live forever? That's what it means? That's it? That's it? What else does it mean? What else does it mean to have a world without it? What happens? What happens? Rabotai Yekarim, the Chidush is a world without Satan, Malach HaMavet, and Yetzer Hara is a world where everyone is grateful. Once you're grateful, Hashem wants to give you eternal life, like luz. Once you're grateful, there's no reason for the Malach HaMavet to kill you. Once you're grateful, you're acknowledging there's a world around you. You're acknowledging that you have to do good for them, and therefore you're going to acknowledge Hashem Yitbarach. Once you're grateful, Malach HaMavet has no control over you. Satan has nothing to do with you. Yetzer Hara goes on vacation, a permanent one. Why? You're grateful for everything that's happening, both from above and the one that's next to you. Once you're grateful to everything, you're already in Gan Eden. You're already in Gan Eden. It's time that we all understand that being grateful is not just saying thank you. Not just saying thank you. A monkey can say thank you also. You train him, he'll say thank you. A parrot can say thank you also. Start understanding that there's a world around you, your behavior affects others, and there's an outcome. There's a action, there's a reaction, there's a cause, there's an effect, there's things that happen. If we're more grateful for the things that Hashem is giving us, life becomes much, much more pleasurable. Much, much more pleasurable. The difficulties cease to exist. Why? Because you realize that everything that's happening is from Him. If it's from Him, it must be good. And if it's good, what are you complaining about? Any questions?
What is the limit of gratefulness? Because there are people, if they do something good for you,
Again?
it's as the Bible says, they think to themselves you owe them your life from that moment on.
Those people are usually not going to watch the shiur. Because people that think that you owe them their life are usually not going to want to learn from anybody else. The most dangerous people are people that don't even know that they don't know. But on a exaggerated level, we say that somebody that is wicked will do little things and think that they owe you, that you owe them your life. The reality is that whatever people do for you, you have to be grateful for, and there is really no limit. And you get rewarded for that gratefulness. You get rewarded for what you're doing. But it gets to a point where everyone has a threshold. Where if, let's say for example, somebody lent you a pen. In the beginning he wants to break your chops a little bit. You know what I did with this pen? This pen changed your life. Look what you wrote with the pen. Look at it. So if you now start reacting, you say, you know what? You're right. You changed my life with this pen. Thank you with the pen. And every 5 seconds, say, you know what? Thank you for the pen. And the next day, thanks for the pen. And the next day, thanks for the pen. You know, that pen changed my life. After a while, after a week, okay, it wasn't that much I did for you. He's going to get sick of it. Why? Because he, at the end of it, all the wickedness, all the klippah that he has, he also has a conscience. And he knows it's not right. At the end, he says, okay, I didn't do that much. I was just kidding. Okay, enough. He said, thank you, enough. No problem. Enough. So that's the reality. But the point is that it's a getting ourselves used to asking Hashem for everything is the first lesson. Second lesson is to understand that when somebody does give something to you, anything, you should be extremely grateful. Third thing is to realize that even if you're grateful, it's probably not enough. Because the magnitude of what He did for you is unlimited. Unlimited. So always have this nature where you're grateful and never be ungrateful. Never be ungrateful. I mean, to such an extent that some of the Chachamim, I mean, there's many stories like this where you would have some of the Chachamim, they would actually people would actually do bad things to them. And they would say thank you to them. So, oh, thank you for being Yad Hashem. Thank you for being the hand of Hashem that got me to do tshuva. That this is when somebody really truly understands who's running the world.
When somebody who is in a false religion is trying to be grateful by giving 10% of the income to these false things, how does Hashem take that? Does he accept it? Does he not?
Well, the only mitzvah that's associated with idolatry is to destroy it. So, abali ta'er mesein beyado, abali tameh potchim lo. The Gemara says that someone that comes to become purified, Hashem gives him a hand. Someone that comes to become impurified, Hashem opens the door for him, meaning he even helps him with that. So when someone is looking for falsehood, and he's looking for a spiritually lazy religion, when he's looking for a shortcut to Gan Eden that doesn't exist, Hashem says, oh, you want a shortcut when we both know it doesn't exist? What, you think that you're just going to give some money and I'm just going to go, psh, and make everything appear? No problem. Everyone knows it's all hocus pocus, it's all nonsense. But you're going to fool yourself by this guy's charming speech, and you're going to believe him that if you give 10% of your money to this idolatry, everything is going to be fine. You're going to fool yourself into it because no one really believes it. No problem. I'm going to help you. I'm even going to give you more money to do it. Why? Bigger sin. I'm going to help you make bigger sins. And this, actually, Rabotai, is what the Rambam says. The Rambam says that there is a certain level of sin where a person gets to such a point that Hashem decides he doesn't want their tshuva. Doesn't want their tshuva. Now, in Ilchot Tshuva, chapter 4, it says that there are 4 such people that have made such sins or are making such sins that Hashem does not want to accept their tshuva. Someone asked me, I think you asked me this question a week or 2 ago, about who Hashem does not want their tshuva, and it wasn't relevant back then. Now it's relevant. It's important to know who these 4 people are. Because the reality is, we could be one of them. People think that they could work their whole life, keep Shabbat, keep Torah, keep mitzvot, keep kosher, and they have Olam Haba. They don't realize they could potentially be one of these 4 people. One of these 4 people that Hashem will not allow them to do tshuva. Meaning they could keep Shabbat, they could keep kosher, but full tshuva he's not going to have. Which means a problem. Who are these 4 people? First one who's a machtia rabim. Someone who causes the masses to sin. Causes other people to sin. Which also includes somebody who holds back other people from performing mitzvot. So let's say, for example, there's one guy that says, people want to have a shiur Torah, and he gets in the way of the shiur Torah, and he gets the Bet Knesset to cancel the shiur Torah. That's a person that caused other people to not make a mitzvah. The opposite is a woman that walks around immodest. She causes men to sin. Or a guy that does bad things and causes other people to sin. He has a strip club or a bar or something like that. Such people cause the masses to sin, cause other people to sin. But it could also be a rabbi that tells people nothing. He gives them motivational lectures to do nothing. Instead of telling them to do tshuva, he gives them a motivational lecture to stay exactly the same. Everybody's a tzaddik, everybody's great, you're all fine, you're all perfect, you're all amazing, chazakim buchim, just give more tzedakah, make check payable too. All the instructions of who to make the check payable to, he knows it, he's good at it, he's machmir. But to tell him to actually do tshuva and to keep Shabbat and to stop looking at their phones and all of those other things, he doesn't do. He doesn't do that. All he does is tell people that they're tzaddikim. That such a person is a Machtir Rabim. That's the first one. Second one. To be a Machtir Rabim is not so difficult, by the way. It's very simple to be a Machtir Rabim. All you got to do is just make a comment on the internet. Don't listen to this rabbi anymore. He's an idiot. That's it. Simple comment. 5 words. 5 words. This happens to me at least once or twice a day. Somebody tells me I'm an idiot. Now, if somebody actually listens to these people and stops listening, remember, like the pen, like lose, action, reaction, 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 never ending. Somebody was going to listen, but he heard that his friend said, oh, this guy's an idiot. Now he doesn't realize that the idiot was the only one who's going to help him do tshuva. Now he doesn't do tshuva. He marries a goya. She marries a goy. They have little goyish kids. They don't know what's the truth. They die goyim. Shem Hashem, what happens to them? All of it. Original cheshbon. Why? Made a comment on Facebook. He's an idiot. No, but I kept Shabbat. Good for you. In Shabbat, in Gehenom, we'll turn off the fire on Shabbat for you. No, that's what happens. Bemet. That's what it says. Masachet Gehenom. Somebody keeps Shabbat. On Shabbat, they turn off the fire on Gehenom because he kept Shabbat. He still has Gehenom forever, though. But just on Shabbat, there's no Gehenom for them. They send him to the mountains of ice over there, and he comes back he steals the ice. So that's the first one, Machtir Rabim. Machtir Rabim is very, very simple, Rabotai. Very simple. Very simple to cause other people to sin. Second, one who leads his fellow man astray from the path of good to that of bad. For example, one who's a missionary. What missionary? Christianity or any other religion or even atheism. Meaning all of these missionaries that are thinking that they're doing good, Shem Hashem. These are people that Hashem is not going to allow them to do tshuva. Now sometimes these missionaries are from different religions. Sometimes these missionaries are actually Jews, like these 2 idiots, Israelis, that have One for Israel organization. They missionize specifically against Israelis. They look for Israelis to bring them back to JCPenney. Or this other guy, Avat something, the pig guy. He looks like a pig a little bit. But anyway, his whole focus is to bring Jews to JCPenney. These people, there's no tshuva for them. Third, one who sees his son becoming associated with evil influences and refrains from rebuking him. Since his son is under his authority, were he to rebuke him, he would have separated himself from these influences. Hence, by refraining from admonishing his own son, it's considered as if he caused him to sin. Anyone that has children should listen to this and read this 1,000 times. Not rebuking your own children, telling them, no, you can have everything. No, do what you got to do. No, I'm not going to tell him what to do. He's going to learn on his own. He's going to learn on his own. Included in his sin are all of those who have the potential to rebuke others, whether an individual or a group, and refrain from doing so, leaving them to their shortcomings. All of these rabbis, these speakers that want to be famous, the Rambam writes you a specific halakha, it's just for you, custom made. You don't want to rebuke people? No problem. You yourself will not do tshuva. You don't want to rebuke people? You don't want to tell them to keep Shabbat? You don't want to tell them to not be intermarried? You don't want to tell them to actually do the right thing by Hashem and not the right thing by their boss or their wife or their husband or the society? You don't want to tell people the truth? No problem. There's a specific halakha from the Rambam just for you. No tshuva for you. It's not my opinion. It's not Rab Mizrahi. It's not anybody. It's Torah. It's Torah, Rabotai. It's Torah. Last but not least, this one, Rabotai, is the most difficult one. Why? All of us fell for it at some point, but Be'ezrat Hashem we won't anymore because we got out of the way. What is it? One who says, Ichtav ve'ashuv, Ichtav ve'ashuv. Someone who says, I will sin and then I'll do tshuva. I'll sin and then I'll do tshuva. Someone who already decides, I'm going to go sin. And I'll do tshuva later. Why? The rabbi said that Hashem is always going to accept our tshuva, no? We have Yom Kippur coming up in a couple of months. I'll do tshuva on Yom Kippur. What's the problem? What? Tefillin? I won't do tefillin for the next couple of months. I'll do tefillin after Yom Kippur. What? The dating my non-Jewish girlfriend? No problem. I'll date her for a few months. Yom Kippur, I'll do tshuva. I'll throw her out. No problem. I'll do tshuva. Just a little bit. Let me have some fun, Kvod Harav. Let me have some fun with my boyfriend for a few more months. Let me have some fun with my the boys at work for a little longer. Let me have some fun. I'm only young. After I get married, I'll do tshuva. האומר הכתב והשוב, הכתב והשוב, אין מספיקים בידו לעשות תשובה. The Rambam says, someone who says, I will sin and then I will repent, I will sin and then I will repent, they will not allow him to do tshuva, and Yom Kippur does not help him. Even Yom Kippur, that helps the entire nation, him doesn't help him. He can pray from here to next year. Only white he's wearing on Yom Kippur. Him, it doesn't work. Why? You went to Yom Kippur, but you're planning a barbecue next Shabbat already. Someone already plans, I'm going to sin and do tshuva. Not that he just makes sins because he falls. If you fall, you fall. But if you are actively planning on sinning, no, I'm just going to sin, and later on I'll do tshuva for this. Meaning you are consciously going to sin. Not that you fall for it. We all fall for sins. En tzaddik v'lo yichta. No such thing as someone that's so righteous doesn't sin. Everybody sins. Moshe Rabbeinu sinned. If it wasn't written, we wouldn't be allowed to say it. But even Moshe Rabbeinu sinned. In his level. Everybody sins. But someone that consciously decides, I'm going to sin, and then later on I'll do tshuva. That, Rabotai, is playing not with fire. It's playing with the lava of Gehenom, which is 60 times the lava power of the world here. This is the lava of all lavas. Why? Hashem says, you are treating me worse than a dog. Because even a dog that's tied, he's a Rottweiler, pit bull, and he's tied to a chain, you're not going to play with him too close. Why? He's going to bite you. He's going to bite you. If he's trained, so he's going to bite you. He doesn't know he's going to bite you. Hashem says, "What, you're going to play? You're going to consciously sin? You're going to consciously sin? And no, I'm going to do tshuva. Like, you're assuming I'm going to wait for your tshuva. You're assuming I'm just going to forgive it. I don't care. You're assuming it already. You're assuming I'm just going to, it's no big deal. It's no big deal to destroy Olam Haba for you. It's no big deal. It's no big deal to embarrass Hashem's name in public. It's no big deal to be a Mechalel Shabbat. Being Mechalel Shabbat, the Gemara says everyone's a Mechalel Shabbat. To violate Shabbat, I don't care if it's working or it's watching TV or it's smoking cigarettes. The Gemara says someone that violates Shabbat is like as if he's going in the middle of the street and says, Hashem, I don't believe in you. That's a Mechalel Shabbat. It's screaming in the middle of the world. You have 500 million people watching, and you're saying, Hashem, I don't believe in you, Hashem Elachem. And you're thinking, no, wait for me. Next month I'll do tshuva. Next week, next month, next year, when I get married, when I have kids, when I get older, and I can't walk anymore, and I can't see, and I have nothing to do, and I'm on my deathbed, I'll do tshuva. Rabotai, these are critical things, these are hard words, but this is halacha. This is what we got on Mount Sinai. There's no sugarcoating. Just like Hashem wants to give us the ultimate good for the smallest things we didn't even intend on doing, it's the same extent as the other way. Everyone likes the first part of the shiur, the good. I lend somebody a pen, I get olam haba, I get another olam haba because he did, and everybody likes the first part of the shiur. The second part is where it gets tricky. The second part is where it gets difficult, but that's the reality. If it was just the first part, all of us would already be at olam haba. We'd be lending people pens all day. But the reality is there's two sides to the coin. That's why the whole Torah, Hillel Zaken says, it all starts with acknowledge that you're not alone. You're not alone. There's people around you that are watching. You're not alone. Hashem is watching. You're not alone. Once you realize you're not alone, you already start to do tshuva. Any questions? Besides, tomorrow night we have another shiur in Miami. B'ezrat Hashem, new crowd, new people, new subject. It's going to be about whatever the people love to talk about, which is money. The key to Parnasat Tovah. There's going to be a few surprises in a shiur about Parnasat Tovah. And then we have a Tuesday is a regular shiur about the Musar Pirkei Avot, and B'ezrat Hashem also Wednesday. And thank you again for learning with me. May Hashem continue to bless all of you. Baruch Adonai Leolam. Amen ve'amen.